Good afternoon. Thank you very much for being here with all of us. My name is Maria Laura Salón Perez, and we welcome you to this Forum for Empowerment of Women Economic Forum 2020.
Adelante en este año también. Y quiero agradecer a todo el equipo organizador, a mi hermana Bernardita, a todos los que están allá ayudando a mis hermanas con la organización, los patrocinadores y todo el equipo que está poniendo en marcha la más bella edición posible allá en la tierra del pura vida. Estoy ansiosa por ver la deliberación en esta maravillosa edición de Wef Costa Rica. Felicidades a todos y que Dios los bendiga.
Thank you very much, Harbin, and thank you for your words. Well, let me tell you that Wef Costa Rica, organized by the Association Soy Mujer, All Ladies League, and the Women Economic Forum, with the cooperation of ALAS, the Association for Leadership and Social Promotion. This is the most important women network in the country. And someone who has been with us these 2 days is ready with the next retaíla, the poem, Rachel Araya. I leave you with her.
Les quiero contar algo. Yo desde los 7 años llevo haciendo retaílas. Más de 5 años que llevo haciendo esto. Y gracias a Dios tenemos muchas experiencias. Entre ellas, y me he dado cuenta que la mayoría que lo hacen son hombres. Pero les cuento algo. Gracias a Dios, muchas niñas se me han dicho que ellas sueñan con ser artistas. Y yo sé que lo van a lograr. El regalo es retaíla. Amigo, le voy a contar para que las cosas cambien, no se necesitan una ley, un decreto. Yo les voy a decir que hay que hacer con exactitud, hay que parar alto y vivir la vida con buena actitud. Si alguien nos dice que no podemos, a esa persona ignoremos. Que si en algún momento nos vamos a rendir, como el ave fénix de las cenizas, podemos. Alzo la voz frente a ustedes, para decirles algo, esencia, que para que vivamos felices y con mejor convivencia, con valentía y corazón, tenemos que luchar para demostrar que las cosas podemos cambiar.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Rachel Araya. She is an artist with her keenness and energy and lots of commitment shared with us with her art. For this afternoon's block, we have the presence of Carla Blanco, Global CEO of External Affairs, Diversity, Inclusion, and Social Impact in Intel Corporation, Marisa Durman, Doctor, VP of Health Division at Grupo Montecristo, Patricia Madrigal, Homeopath Doctor for Children, Adolescents, and Adults, and Andrea Alvarez, founder of ALAS, CEO of Alvarez Marine Foundation, elected Congresswoman, and she will moderate the optimal balance, mental health, wellness, and personal development. At the end of this topic, we will have the participation of one of the best actresses we have in Costa Rica, and whom we had the opportunity to have last week in the Charlemos Wef, Marcia Saborio. Around 5 p.m., we will continue with neuroscience, meditation, and alternative healing for a holistic health, directed by Sandra Garcia with the participation of Alexandra Kisling, Karen Chalajani, Marieta Rodriguez, and Nazaret Castellanos. And to close this Health and Wellness Axel, around 6 p.m. we will have Anita Cipaul, Helen Navarro, Irma Sanchez, Vida Scrap, and Isabel Borden, with the power of unity and celebrating sorority. So with the same spirit, with Bernardita Rodriguez, our General Director of Wef Costa Rica 2022, we will announce the recognition of this year for Wef Costa Rica 2022. So without further ado, we'll leave you with Andrea. Thank you very much, Maria Laura, for that introduction. I am extremely happy to be the moderator for this panel. For a long time, I saw this type of activities with talented women that I admired, and I dreamt of being part of something like this. So this is a dream come true for me. I am extremely happy to be here and to be with women that I admire and who have been leaders in their areas. And this is a topic that traditionally hasn't been part of the agenda, like mental health, wellness, and welfare. So I say hi to all of you with our dear panelists, and I would like to begin with a brief presentation from each one of you around 3 to 4 minutes, where each one of you could tell us what resonates on you, to tell us about your story. How did you make it up to here? Challenges, successes. Please, this is your space. Let's begin with Carla. Thank you, Andrea. Good afternoon, all of you. It is an honor for me to be here with you. And well, let me begin from the role I'm most proud of. I'm the mother of Andres Ramirez, who is a 20-year-old son. He's around here. He's my motivation. That's how I call him. He's a university student for business administration. He's a great entrepreneur, human being, and he's a hardworking person as well. And when you asked us to introduce ourselves, where do I begin? I said, and I'm a coach and I'm a facilitator of leadership. And in that role, as the facilitator of leadership, I find myself in this part on how do we integrate to our life different areas where we develop ourselves, how necessary it is to put ourselves in the first place, to put on the oxygen mask, as we say. We're getting instructions to help others. We tend to think that we're here to solve the problems of everybody around us, but we have to understand that we have to be good first. Aside from being a facilitator of leadership, I am a John Maxwell team speaker. More than 25 years of experience. I began my working career in Procomer. After that, I moved on to Intel in finance, then corporate affairs, and working in governmental affairs for the competitivity of the country to make sure that we have this successful and competitive operation globally. And after that career of 7 years, I adopted this role in Latin America. And from there, I came to the United States. And part of that journey, the most important thing I believe is to live and to define what we want from life in that process. There's this Harvard study in 1979 where the students graduating from business administration in the master's program, they asked them who had goals. 84% didn't, and 13% had goals, but 3% aside from goals, they had plans for that. And 10 years after that, what happened was those who, well, the 13% had double income than the 84%, and the 3% 10 times more income than the rest. So to me, having goals is something that's embedded on how our parents educated ourselves. And in having goals, because challenges are in the everyday things. To face these challenges, we have to be clear on who we are, what are our values, where are we headed. When opportunities come, we take them and we move on. In the same process in 2018, being here in the United States, I wrote a book that's called Expand Your Potential. It was a bestseller in English, and last year I had the translation into Spanish, and it was a bestseller as well. I compiled the tools that helped me through my professional career. See it as a disintegrated thing. We are a comprehensive human being, so what are those challenges helping us face the everyday? Carla Blanco is passionate of the potential. I am passionate about the ocean. I'm a diver. And I love connecting to people because we're not alone. So I'm happy to be here with you and to share the tools that had helped me to find that balance. Thank you very much. Thank you, Carla. That study is super interesting about the 3%. When listening to you, I said, what's my percentage? 3 or 13? How have I managed my life? Because it is very interesting that after some time, they saw tangible, real results for the percentage. I found interesting what you said, who am I? Because when we our goals or when we set who we are, sometimes it is easy to go with the flow from society and not listen to what's important for us. One of the most important points of wellness is to leave aside this social noise, and it is a challenge. Well, let's then move on to Patricia. Hi, everyone. I'm Patricia Madrigal. Just the same. I have 3 children, 3 marvelous Maria Luna, Franco, and Camilo, 3 children. They're big now. And I have a marvelous husband with whom I've been living 31 years, and we have shared difficult moments, but also they have been important moments, and he has been a great support for me. I dedicate myself to medicine, but since very early, I made a decision of wanting to study medicine because I wanted to be a homeopath, because I really liked it very much. I read a lot about this type of medicine, and I actually decided that was a road I wanted to follow, although it was a difficult road because you couldn't study it in the country, but at the end, I could make it. And from there, I started this road of integrative medicine, as we call it, and I developed myself there, and I could study other type of therapies like neural therapy, functional medicine, and energy therapies as well, that have led me throughout almost 20 years of work to understand every time that reaching out my patients and my family and myself goes from an integral, a comprehensive approach. When I talk about this is mind, body, soul, because when we talk about this type of medicine, we integrate the whole set. We're not leaving anything aside. And thanks to homeopathy, I had this blessing, because it is a blessing, to get close to addictions. I worked in my country, in Costa Rica, and I could work in other countries with projects of pharmacodependency with children and adolescents, and also sexual exploitation for commercial purposes. So this is something that right now I'm not developing, but I still see patients, and within this, in this comprehensive approach, I have been getting in depth in functional psychiatry right now. I am passionate of studying, now that I'm going to mention a little bit on my difficulties that I have faced. That's one of them, because I'm passionate about keeping on studying, and this sometimes had created moments of deep demanding, and this demanding moments made me have episodes of anxiety or even depression, I would say, because I am self-demanding from myself, because it's not even this enough, and I am falling short in my self-recognition sometimes. So as women, and in my field, which is part of the medicine that many times is not well recognized, it's that need to be accepted that not only happens to me, by all of us as women. It happens that sometimes recognition is not the same as a man can have. So that may be sometimes because when I was invited to this, I was told you have to talk about yourself. So I struggle every day in the field of medicine, for example, and working together, and in particular with mental health topics. I shouldn't. I shouldn't even go through these things. And sometimes it is difficult to ask for help, to reach out for help, the help that we need at some point. And that is something that I'm doing nowadays, to realize that nothing happens if I'm vulnerable, and to know that I can't do things by myself sometimes, and that I need help. So that is my message to those women who sometimes being strong means not to fall down or not to ask for help. Thank you. Thank you very much, Patricia, for this introduction, because that is part of the idea of Wef. You are leader women and reference in your field, and it is important for those listening to us and watching us, young people at the beginning of their careers, to see the challenges and the fact that you're opening yourself on this love to learn and knowledge, but also together with anxiety and depression episodes, those admiring you, they can relate to you because we have gone through challenges. Because sometimes people you admire, you see just the success and the good thing, but it is difficult to find the way to identify yourself, right? So I really thank you for sharing in this segment your feelings. So now we can get to know you a little bit more. So Marisa, could you please introduce yourself? Good afternoon. I am Marisa Turman Madrigal. I'm a doctor specialist in internal medicine. I am graduate from UCMed. Yes, we come back with Marisa's audio. Well, it was not my protocol, but I will introduce myself while we come back to Marisa. I am a historian and public health. And in public health, I studied the history of medicine at the University of Costa Rica. We had several professors studying history of medicine from the patient standpoint. And these are stories that we don't read about much. So it caught my attention, and I focused myself on suicide. And that's something I have worked on for the last 15 years. And also to continue with the Wef style and to share a little bit about my life. One of my dearest people was a suicide survivor, and these people have lost people they love by suicide as well. So this person I was close to didn't have the openness to talk to me about this topic. So it was the sample of the stigma that we have regarding mental health, suicide, and even people who are close to you who want to be there to support people. Sometimes they feel they can't talk about this topic. So I was angry, and it hurt me that this topic was so censored, and suicide survivors as well, because they're an invisible population as well. So what I have studied professionally with this experiences, I wanted to work in public health. So years ago, I moved from research to politics, and I was interested in knowing a little bit about how politics work. Since a little ago, I am embedded in political topics. Now I am starting, starting the elected congresswoman position. How to combine what motivated me to become a politician, to have the legislative agenda with mental health, economy, education, finance topics that are getting priority, and not to get involved in that day to day. Understanding these topics are highly important, but not to forget about the reason why I wanted to be in leadership positions and not to leave aside that. So sometimes mental health and suicide prevention topics are things that correspond to a minority, and it is not true. So that was my main flag, and that is something that I've been thinking about during these last days. So I believe that we have good audio. So let's give the floor to Marisa again. Hi, good afternoon. Durman Madrigal, and I am a doctor in internal medicine. My career starts in Costa Rica. I had the opportunity to study medicine in UCMed. At the end of my career as a general doctor, I had the opportunity to go to Minnesota in the United States, where I was involved in internal medicine. And over there, I met my husband, who's Costa Rican as well. And we were living for 10 years over there with an incredible experience. After some time, we were there. I had my first child, Samuel, who's 6 years old now. And within the challenges that we faced living in the United States, being both doctors and having a small child, was that part of as a professional woman, mother, wife. So we had the opportunity to come back to Costa Rica, and we took that opportunity because it was a great opportunity to have this important support in raising my children. Currently, I have a second daughter, Sofia. She's a little 1-year-old girl, and she is keeping us on our toes every day. So I am an internist doctor with private practice. I'm part of the MediSmart prepaid medicine insurance, and I am also vice president for the health division at Grupo Montecristo, and I've been part of the development of electronic files in the companies for the Grupo Montecristo, which is something challenging. And I believe that from the things that I had experience with, aside from the marvelous experience of being a mother, I am a structured person. I'm organized. And I remember that when I became a mother, I was the chief of residence, and I had to deal with many young people, or younger than I was in medicine. And they had their lives, they had their challenges, their personal challenges. And during that year, as the chief of residence, I had my first child, and I had the opportunity to realize that those challenges are real and that you're a person. No doubt, like Patricia mentioned, the transition to being a mother was difficult. It was a demanding career. And the fact of being so structured made me adapt myself to the fact that babies are unpredictable. Newborns are unpredictable. Routines and things and schedules, you have to adapt to them and not them to you. So I remember perfectly that within my challenges as the chief of residence, one of my challenges was to develop the whole curriculum and the clinical trials and the morning report, we called it. And it was to talk about different important cases with the idea to provide some learning experiences to those residents. So I perfectly remember sitting down, I had to give this presentation and I said, okay, I'm going home real quick. And then I morning report during the night. My surprise was that obviously I came home to stay with my son that night because of some reason. He had more colics and was sick or something. Then I ended up at 4 a.m. being frustrated with myself because of my pretension of thinking that I could handle time to the expectations I had. And I was frustrated with my baby because it didn't have anything to do with that. But that was the most important learning, to realize myself that we can't be that structured. And definitely the strategy to deal with those type of situations was to organize yourself enough with time to avoid having those situations that in the next day you had to present that. You couldn't. And then I realized that, and that helped me a lot to predict a little bit or to foresee the needs of children that way and to adapt yourself in the different tasks as mother's professional wife. And that helped me as well somehow to guide my patients, because I believe that within what happens with women is that we set many expectations. In motherhood, we are demanding with ourselves, and in the parts that I have with my friends who are about to have children, that's a beautiful stage in life, but challenging as well. Not to feel like everything was flowers and rainbows, but everything has their challenges, and it is normal sometimes to feel frustrated, but no doubt that helped me be a better professional. And at the end of the day, that mental health, that Marisa has to be well so she can be this character to do different tasks every day. Thank you very much, Marisa. I like very much that what you're saying, that at the end of the day, you are a person. And it is linked to what Patricia said and Carla said, that we are comprehensive beings, integral beings, because sometimes it's been damaging to think that we have to be competitive, and in that work environment, we leave outside in the errors that I have made. One day I felt like I was feeling really bad and I wanted to cry. I said, no, I have to do this after 6 p.m. because I have to work. But we can't do that, because every time we deal with the aspects of who we are. Before moving on to the next question and talking about what Carla said and Marisa said, is that Harvard study of the importance of having goals and specific plans to follow these goals, and combining that to what Marisa said, that sometimes life is unpredictable. And what you were saying, being a mother, even though you wanted to be structured, life gave you different challenges. On the other side, I am putting this together because it looks like it's not exclusive to having plans and to wanting to grow professionally, and to understand as well that those goals and those plans have to be flexible. And the wellness and the emotional portion and the balance between work and life that you were mentioning, one of the stereotypes or the ideas that have harmed a lot, and I experienced that when I was younger, that notion that in order to be leaders and to go beyond in our professional careers, you have had in the corporate lives, Marisa and Marina, Marisa and Patricia, and in the medicine career with your patients. I believe that in these competitive areas, we have the sensation we have to be producing and producing every time in order to be leaders. And part of that is to leave aside somehow our mental health or our wellness. I'm asking you this because, or I mentioned this topic because what happened to me was that if I have some rest, what happens to that rest? If I'm not the last one leaving the office, or if I take my weekend off, there are other people moving forward. So that has been one of the harmful stereotypes at work, with these new visions that you can balance these stereotypes. But I wanted to ask the three of you, have you felt something like that? Well, I don't know, but how have you handled that stress of being excellent in your work life, but without leaving aside the wellness and health topics? What do you think? Is it something that you identify yourself? I identify myself to that. Thank you very much for talking about flexibility and the vulnerability. Those are superpowers that we have to take advantage of now, because we even have to understand that there are different stages. And in my book, the first chapter is the mirror and the observer, on how am I distributing my time. Everybody will be doing something different because we have different capabilities, but the important thing is to let ourselves to be intentional on how am I investing in this time. I believe that at the beginning of my career, just like you, Andrea, what I did was I didn't leave. Nowadays, I don't even worry about the email. If it is an emergency, they will call me on my cell phone, because the volume of things on your email, you wouldn't. And something else is the network, the support network. We're the result of that group of people with us. We're the reflect of those 5 people. Fortunately, in my case, when my son was little, my sister, she was studying at the university and she is a teacher. And at that moment, she could help me taking care of him. Then my parents retired, so they could help me. And we always, I believe, we blame ourselves, in my case, not being 100% of the time with my son. And I am so happy that we are debunking this mental health topic, because in my life have been psychologists helping me understand that you can be a human being and you have to have priorities. And one of the tools, share 1 hour with your son, they said, without any distractions, without cell phones, nothing, just the two of you. And then to have in the calendar these habits from highly productive people. Stephen Covey, I guess, saying that we should put everything in a calendar. When talking about the 8th habit, took out your family. Well, how come if it is the most important thing in my life? Well, once you do that, you realize that you invested a lot of time with him. But then, Marisa, thank you very much for that example when you had your baby. That happened to me. My son in the supermarket running around, and my nephew. My son was demanding the speed from my nephew, and I said, "That's me." And I said, "Breathe in and breathe out. Let them be children." So that is something that we have to understand, that we are human beings and we have to find this balance, and each stage has different moments. Take advantage of the network that we have to go on with the tasks.
Muchísimas gracias, Carla, por
Thank
compartir
you,
estos
Carla, very
tips
much for
y
sharing
estos
these tips
ejemplos. Lo de la red de apoyo
and
es
these examples.
súper importante.
The
Me pareció muy
support system
interesante
is
esto que
extremely important,
mencionabas
and
de
I
meter
believe
en
it
el
is
calendario el
important
tiempo
on using
con
the
la familia, porque
calendar,
sí, es algo
the
que uno diría,
calendar
pero es que si lo tengo que
to
meter, no
have
lo debería de tener que
time
meter,
for his
¿verdad? Pero
family.
sí, es una forma de ir mostrando la
But it
prioridad.
is important
Yo en
to
este momento
priority.
tengo el placer de
Right
ser
now,
madre, pero voy a
I don't
agarrar
have
ese
the
tip
pleasure of
y
being a
como
mother,
no tengo hijos,
but I'm
entonces mi
taking
esposo José,
notes
voy a poner en la
on those
agenda una
tips.
hora con José
So
sin teléfono y yo creo que
I
él que
would
nos está
have,
escuchando va a estar
I,
muy
I have
contento
I have my
por
partner
este
who's
asunto y por este
Jose,
tip, así
so
que
I will put
mil
him on the
gracias. Y
calendar,
otro
1
tema
hour with
muy
him
importante que
without
vos
the
tocaste
phone.
tenía que ver con
But
esto de, bueno, del correo electrónico,
that
el
topic
ejemplo que
of
diste,
the
porque a
email,
veces
that example
creo que
you gave
caemos en la
gave
trampa
us,
de
because
que
sometimes
porque
we
me
fall in
mandaron un
the
mensaje,
trap
porque me mandaron un correo, es
because
urgente
they
y tengo
sent
que
me a message
responderlo
or
ya. Y a
an email,
veces,
and I have to
si uno
answer
hace el
it
experimento de,
immediately.
bueno, voy a dejarlo
Sometimes
ahí a
if
ver
you
qué pasa, si el mundo se
if
cae o no se
you
cae,
run the
no
experiment,
siempre
what
no
happens if
siempre
you
se
don't
cae, o me
do
atrevería a
anything?
decir que casi
Nothing
nunca.
happens.
Así que son ejemplos
Almost
muy
never
concretos
anything
que
happens.
estoy
So
segura que a
those are
quienes nos
very
están
concrete examples,
escuchando
and
les resulta de mucho provecho.
I'm very sure that
Bueno,
that is
quiero
something
ver,
that would
Patricia,
help
¿cuál es tu
others.
sensación con
And
esto que hemos
Patricia,
estado
what's
hablando?
your feeling about this? Of course, in my case, just like I mentioned before, the topic of having to deal with myself in the sense of being demanding. Like I said before, I have to learn this, I have to study. I mean, this is something that I've done throughout my entire career. And I listen to my children when they say, "Mom, we remember you studying," and sometimes when they have felt like things are not going their way, they say, "We can't be just like you." And that definitely made me stop and say, okay, I am Patricia, professional, the one who studies because I like learning, but I'm also Patricia, the mother. I'm the wife, but I am also the woman with needs and who wants to do things, because within all the things that we have, the everyday tasks, many times, many of them are associated to, I should do this, I have to do this. But nowadays, I am implementing. I choose doing this, I choose not to do this. Yesterday, I had a meeting, for example, and I had to take the plane, And I had the meeting at that moment. And I said, no, I can't do that. At some other point, I would have run like crazy to the airport. Fat or wrinkled, and that's another burden that we have. And this comes from I need to. I mean, we all want to look good and we are beautiful and all, but that is another demand. It is difficult, but women are criticizing even more than a man and critiquing other women. So critic, we're the critics of ourselves and others on how we see each other. That's another burden we carry.
De verdad que muchísimas gracias por compartir
Actually,
esto del
thank you
aspecto
very
físico,
much
porque es otra de las
for
cosas
sharing
que,
this,
bueno, en salud mental tenemos que
the
desmitificar un
physical,
montón de cosas porque
physical
estamos
state,
empezando
right? In
casi
mental
que no de
health, we
cero,
have to
pero en
debunk
muchas
many
cosas de
things.
cero. Y esto del
We're not
físico no es algo que
starting
de
from
lo que hablamos,
scratch,
no en
but
el
the
sentido
the
de
physical
realzar
image,
el
that's
físico,
something
sino
that
esta crítica que vos haces de este
is not
peso que sentimos
regarding
las mujeres con ese tema. Yo
the
voy a
physical
compartir
appearance, but
brevemente una
what
anécdota
we
que
feel.
me pasó hace
Let
unos
me
días
share
con
this
esto de
brief
la política.
anecdote
Bueno,
that I
es una
had
actividad
days
bonita,
ago
pero
with the
dentro
politics.
de las cosas no tan
With the
bonitas es que
politics
en redes
thing,
sí hay a veces como
it's a
muchos
good
mensajes
thing, but the
negativos y
bad
yo
thing
subí un
is
video
in
de
social
unos
media,
temas y entonces sí,
we have
varios mensajes criticaban
some
mi
criticism. So
formación, mi
they were
inteligencia, mi
critiquing
capacidad,
my
pero
intelligence, my
uno de
training,
los
my
mensajes
capability. But one
que
of those
más me
messages that
dolió fue uno que hablaba
that
sobre el
hurt me the
físico.
most
Y yo
was
decía, qué
one
extraño,
talking about
porque por
the
un
way I
lado me he
looked.
enfocado
And I said,
en mi vida en
weird, because
construirme
on
como
one
mujer
side,
profesional y por otro
I've
lado de
been
todas las
building
cosas
myself as a
que
professional
leí,
woman. And
el
on the
que
other
de
side,
verdad, no que acabó
out of
conmigo, pero digamos
everything,
que más me dolió
the
era
thing
sobre algo
that hurt me
físico,
the
que uno dice,
most was
me siento
about something
superficial
physical.
de que esa haya sido mi reacción, pero fue
I
una
feel
reacción
shallow
genuina.
that
Pero
was my
también creo que
reaction, but
nos
it
habla un
was a
poco de eso
true
que vos
reaction.
decías, ¿verdad?
And I
Cómo
believe
como
it
sociedad,
has to do with
hasta
what
en
you were saying.
eso,
As
a las
society,
mujeres
even
sentimos un
in
peso
this,
adicional
women,
que a
we
veces como
feel
que nos
this
hace perder
additional
un poco el
burden
foco de lo
that
realmente importante.
make us a little bit
Marisa,
lose the focus on what's
de lo
important.
que has
So, Marisa,
escuchado,
of what you have
no hemos
heard,
mencionado algo que vos habías estado
we
pensando o
haven't
cómo se
we
ha vivido
mentioned
esto
anything that you
también
have
en tu caso
thought,
que
or
estuviste un tiempo en
how
Estados
have
y
you
ahora
lived this
regresaste?
at
¿Cómo lo
home,
ves?
living in the U.S. and then coming back? Could you tell us about that? Definitely. I believe in my case, definitely as women, we have to let ourselves not being perfect. We sometimes believe that out of all the different hats and responsibilities we have, everything has to be perfect. Perfect children, perfect food, professionally to have the last guidelines and to be on top of things. And that's something that motherhood taught me, that it doesn't matter. I mean, you have to choose out of all these hats, what's the priority at the moment? And the other thing is, we could leave something aside. And I remember I was getting out of the house, thinking about the menu for my child, what he was going to eat. And definitely, every time you take on more responsibilities and there's some point that you explode. To me, that has been the secret, to allow myself to have that freedom in knowing that one or two or three aspects or circumstance, I'm not going to be perfect, but I'm going to do my best. And that is going to be okay, because at the end, that's this vulnerability and teaching them that we're human beings, and within those priorities, I am here. And in my case, I tried at least 1 hour a day to do some exercise or to have some activity, psychological treatment or something that disconnects me from other responsibilities, and to center myself in being good, like Patricia said. If I'm not okay, none of the other roles that I have will be okay. So that is part of understanding that I can't be perfect. Everything helped me accepting different responsibilities. And this is something funny, because I can even share this experience of living in the US versus living in Costa Rica. One of the reasons why we came to Costa Rica was that support network in the US. My husband and I, we were professionals, and the expectation was to take him for child care, daycare, and that was not what I wanted for my son. I have nothing against it, but I didn't want that. And if he was sick, then we had to run for someone to take care of him and all that. So that was definitely something that we like to come back to the country and to having that support. Sister with children the age of my son. I have friends for extra activities, so we take turns to be present, sometimes to not to, sometimes my mom, my dad, my husband. So that support system is what has been really good, to divide ourselves in the different roles that we
Mil
have.
gracias. Esto que vos decís
Thank
de
you
darnos
very much.
finalmente
This
el
what
permiso
you're
a
saying,
no ser
to give
perfectas,
us the
que hasta cierto punto yo creo que
permission,
racionalmente
to give us
entendemos
permission
que
of
es
not being
iluso
perfect.
no
I
serlo,
mean,
¿verdad? Pero que por
rationally
otro
we
lado a veces
understand
nos seguimos
we are
presionando
not,
en
but
esa
on the
vía,
other hand,
entonces ya como que
we still
dejarlo ir, ¿verdad? Es
have
una de
some
las cosas
pressure,
muy
and
importantes.
we have to
Y
let that go.
otro
One of
aspecto
the most
que
important
las
things,
tres
and
mencionaban
another
es el
aspect
tema de no sentir
that the three of
culpabilidad
you mentioned
por ponernos
was
de
about
de
feeling
primer lugar, y de hecho Patricia primero,
guilty
segundo, tercer lugar,
in
y
putting
Carla
ourselves
también lo
in
mencionaba
first
con
place,
el tema
first, place, like
también como
Patricia said.
mujeres dejar de
And
sentir
with the
de que si nos
example of the
ponemos de prioridad
oxygen
estamos
mask that you
haciendo
said,
algo
that
malo.
we are
Ahora
priority,
que
and
varios
not
de
to
ustedes
feel that's
mencionaron
something
el
bad.
tema de las redes de apoyo, hasta el
Several of
momento
you
hemos
mentioned
estado
the
conversando sobre
support
cosas que
system,
podemos
this
hacer
network.
nosotras
We have
en
been
nuestra vida
talking
cotidiana que
about
están
things that we could do
esencialmente
in
bajo
our
nuestro
daily lives
control. Pero ya
that's
pensando
essentially
un
under
poco
our
más
control, but
macro, ¿verdad? En las
thinking
organizaciones en las que
a little
ustedes
bit
trabajan,
on
en
macro
las
in the
profesiones que
organizations you
ustedes
work on,
están,
and in your
¿qué
profession
cambios
that
podemos hacer
you have.
para que
What
este
are the changes
enfoque de
that we can
bienestar vaya
have
permeando en
for
las
this
distintas
approach of
organizaciones? Que no
wellness
sea un tema que a veces
permeates
parece que
in
estamos
different
nadando
organizations? Because this is
contracorriente,
something
¿verdad?
that
Sino
we are
qué cambios estructurales consideran
fighting
ustedes que
against, and
deberíamos de hacer
what are
para
the
que esto ya
structural changes
permee
that
toda la cultura.
we should
Carla.
have to have this permeating in the culture of the organizations. Carla. Thank you, Andrea. Well, I'm fortunate enough to working in the in a place where we have that support and we can ask for psychological support, and the company helps us with these sessions. But now during the well, when work invaded our homes, that is what happened during the pandemic. They gave us economic support so we could have someone helping us taking care of our children. And one of the most important things is flexibility in a society to understand this is something that parents being involved from other places is that we have to, let me quote Arturo Condo saying, I don't help at home. I am Leo's associate. The home is for both of us. So we have to understand that flexibility requires both parties and everyone around us. Many times, taking care of ill people, children, elderly people is the responsibility of the woman. But we're on the same boat and we have to balance that. And the organizations should have flexibility. With the pandemic, many women left their jobs. I have a friend of mine who told me I will have to quit because it's not enough. And she had her husband, and I said, talk to your boss because she is going to help you. And they adjusted the schedules, and she has given the best results in different schedules because when her children are not home, she can focus on the office, and at night she comes back, but in the afternoon needs to be with her children. So the organizations should understand that families, we need this flexibility, and it is a good thing for society and the community. We are ecosystems, and we're on the same boat.
Qué importante que quienes nos
How
escuchan
important is
sepan esto,
that
porque Intel
for
es un
those following us,
referente en el
that
mundo del trabajo y conocer que
intelligent
están teniendo este tipo
reference
de
in,
iniciativas como esto
in,
de
in the
dar acceso a atención psicológica y
labor
desmitificar que
area
esto solo
to
deberíamos recurrir cuando
debunking
estamos en momentos
the
de
attention for
altísima
mental
vulnerabilidad,
health.
sino que puede ser algo de nuestra vida
Only
cotidiana
under
y darle acceso
high
a
vulnerability
las
moments
personas
is
que trabajan en
necessary to
una
debunk that,
corporación
and
de
it
este
is
calibre. Me
interesting to have
parece
access
genial
to this
como ir
for
cambiando
people working
eso
in this
de la
company
cultura.
and
Y
to
vos
change
mencionaste una
that
frase muy
from the
interesante que
culture.
fue cuando
And you mentioned
el
something
trabajo
interesting, which
invadió
is
los
when
hogares, porque sí fue
work
interesante eso
invaded
del
homes,
teletrabajo, que
right?
tal
Because
vez
that was interesting.
quienes no habíamos
The
tenido
remote
la
working,
oportunidad de
those of
tener
us who
esa
didn't have the
opción,
opportunity to
nos fuimos
have
dando
this
cuenta que sí, tiene
option,
un montón de ventajas,
we
pero
realized that
también hay que cuidarse
there are
un poco porque hasta
several
cierto punto a veces uno
advantages, but we
terminaba
have to take care of
trabajando
ourselves
muchísimo
because at
más
some
y esos
point we
espacios
ended up working
más
even
íntimos
more,
era
and
más
those
difícil como
intimate
segmentarlos
spaces,
con la vida
it was
profesional,
difficult
así que, perdón, personal. Así que
to
me encanta
section that
conocer ese tipo
with
de iniciativas
the
de
personal
Intel y que
life. So I
otras
love to
organizaciones de nuestro país
know
también
about
las
those
vayan emulando como buenas
initiatives
prácticas.
from Intel,
Em,
and some
Patricia, vos
companies in
que
our
estás
country
en un
can
mundo
emulate them.
de, bueno, de la
Patricia,
medicina, pero es la
you
combinación
are
de la
in
medicina
this world
occidental
of
con la homeopatía,
medicine,
¿verdad?
the
Pues
Western medicine and homeopathy. I don't know that a lot about that, but I would think there would be openness. What other changes would you consider that we have to have in that discipline, in that area? I believe that it is very important to debunking, because someone with anxiety or a person feeling down, feeling sad, or they feel stressed, we many times think it is weakness. It is not seen as a good thing. And it is a condition that is there. And the person should say, I shouldn't feel this. I'm going to hide it until this point comes that it is this snowball that at the end is going to be an avalanche. And at the end, it generates a condition that may be limiting for the person. In my case, that I work in this medicine area, the integrative medicine, functional psychiatry, part of what I have wanted to do is to educating people to understand that anxiety is not only saying, well, I have to be okay and I have to shake it off. No, there should be biological imbalances in the chemistry of the brain, and we know about the incidents. Now that Carla mentioned, we had to work from home, and the exposure to the sun, to contact with other people, and the incidence of mental illnesses increased considerably. And many times we can see that it has to do with the imbalance of the lack of vitamins, vitamin D, for example. It's not only seeing mental health as the sphere that is, I mean, yes, what I feel is emotional, but my imbalance goes beyond that. And from there, the person realizes that, first of all, there's nothing wrong about having this happening to you. And second, there's a solution that goes beyond traditional pharmacology. And we see people that, despite trying conventional treatments, anxiety pills or any other, they improve with the treatment, because we are just seeing the symptom and not the global picture. So it is just to begin again from an integral point of view, dealing with this diseases and not to focus on the symptom specifically. And then nothing happens. Nothing happens if I feel that way. I need help and I have to look for help. How important is it that what you're saying, you said it at the beginning in the first intervention, the importance of searching for help whenever you feel that you're not doing enough. But now we're talking about the organizational macro levels and the importance of work, understanding that when someone is asking for help, to give support, and it is not only just the responsibility, individual responsibility, and that you mentioned that the incidence of certain diseases increased with the statistics of mental health, because we don't talk about this, so people don't have the dimension on what this is. And the Pan American Organization for Health, they say that at some point in our lives, we may have mental health illness. 24%, if we listen to this, we may say it is the same, but I'd like to explain this as in my original family, my mom, dad, my mother and father, my sister, and myself, we're 4 people, and any of us may develop a mental health illness, and this is something closer to you. Not to alarm anybody, but these topics are part of our daily lives, and this is not a a small thing. And one of the stereotypes from people outside is that medicine is competitive, demanding, and maybe those beginning in medicine think this is not compatible with getting into this world, but to the level of your lives, what are the changes that have contributed to structurally improve this topic? Well, I had the opportunity to have my specialty in the US. This topic is incredible, but we have to promote health and we have to be concerned about our patients. Well, during my maternity leave, when I was the chief of residence, it was for 6 weeks. It was amazing to think that I had to go back to work with the same rhythm of work of a career where you have 24-hour rounds. It was just a month and a half. That month and a half, my baby was born premature, my first baby, and obviously there are many things, fears and anxiety and all. And I just had that time and I had to adapt to that. There was no good uh, good time. So I had postpartum depression and I didn't have access to the tools to help me move on. And so I had to search for those on my own. And I am ashamed of saying that it is incredible to think that, at least in the US, that was my experience. With my second son, or my second daughter, was something different. I had access to 4 months of maternity leave in Costa Rica. So obviously it was a very different experience. So definitely there are many things and areas that we have to change little by little. But like Carla said, psychological support, we implement this at Monte Cristo Group, but we have nice initiatives that I believe can help, which is the creation of daycares, now that we can come back to on-site, but in companies, so we can keep that connection with children, those in their maternity. They had some initiatives normalizing this other phase of women that we have, that at the end is important for society. So I believe that there's a long way to go. It is not easy. I believe that this is another anecdote, but it is amazing that on Facebook, believe it or not, there's a group in the US, a huge one, created by emergency room doctors, physicians, moms group. It is a sorority with 89 women, medical professionals in the US, looking for this community from the need of this mother of 4 children to being able to have this connection and the need they had as mothers, professionals, and how to balance their lives. And in a certain way, you see the vulnerability and what the problem is and the challenges to balancing that. I believe there's a long way to go. We definitely that we have to debunk mental health conditions, and during the pandemic, we've had more openness to that. Yes, very important what you're saying, because I agree with you that with the pandemic, we had more awareness on this topic, taking this as an opportunity to making those structural changes that we mentioned, like the maternity leave, that in the US was so little. Good that we have it in Costa Rica, but what kind of measures
Quiero
we
agradecerles
need to do.
muchísimo a ustedes
I would
tres
like
por
to
haber
thank
sido parte de
you
este
very
panel de
much, the
salud y
three of you,
bienestar,
for
por
being part of the panel
desmitificar
for
estos temas,
health and
por
wellness,
conversar, por
to
haber
be
sido
here to
vulnerables en
debunk
contar
those
sus
topics,
historias
to
y
talk
generosas
about
con
these
contar
topics, to
todo su
tell us your
conocimiento y
stories,
experiencias. Y
to be
para cerrar,
vulnerable,
tal vez me
sharing your
encantaría
experience
que
and
quienes nos
knowledge.
escuchen nos
Just to
quedemos con
close,
el mensaje de
I
que
would like
al
to
carajo el ser perfectas
leave
y que
with this,
simplemente nos dediquemos a
with this.
hacer. Así que muchas gracias a ustedes
Don't think
tres
about
y
being
buenas
perfect.
tardes.
Just think about being. Good afternoon. Thank you.
Y muchas gracias a vos también, Andrea, por
Thanking
moderar
you,
este
Andrea,
excelente panel.
for
También compartiste
the
con
moderation of
nosotros
this panel
parte de tu historia
and
y
what
es
you
muy
shared,
especial
part of your
tenerte en este
story.
set,
And
así
it
como
is
a Marisa,
special to
a
have you
Carla
here,
y
and
a
Marisa,
Patricia.
Carla,
Y bueno,
and Patricia.
quédense porque vean qué bonitos los
And then,
comentarios que nos comparten en redes
please stay
sociales.
with us.
Lau Hernández Monge
Listen
dice,
to
es
this.
un gusto
Lau
compartir
Hernández
temas tan
Monge says,
importantes con mujeres
it's a pleasure to
ejemplares.
share
Con
important
Andrea Álvarez, una
topics with
mujer
you.
joven y
Andrea
empoderada. Gracias
Álvarez,
por este
a young
espacio.
woman.
Katia Pérez Campos, me
Katia
encanta poder
Pérez
aprender de todas estas
Campos, I
talentosas
love
mujeres.
learning from
María
these
Gabriela
talented women.
Vázquez Suárez,
Maria Gabriela
excelente
Vázquez
conocer a
Suárez,
mujeres tan
excellent
talentosas que
to
han logrado
know
cumplir con
talented
éxito
women
sus sueños y
who have
objetivos.
accomplished
Ana
their
Cecilia Allen
goals
nos
and
reporta
dreams.
saludos
Ana
desde
Cecilia
Santa Cruz,
Allen,
Guanacaste. Un saludo a todos por allá.
reporting
Natalia Espinosa
from
Alvarado
Santa Cruz,
desde Alajuela
Guanacaste.
también.
Natalia
Mónica
Espinosa Alvarado
Nagel,
from
doctora
Alajuela
Durman,
as
una
well.
mujer
Monica
exitosa y
Nahel,
valiente. Y
Monica,
Raquel Jiménez,
Dr.
muy buen
Durman,
evento,
excellent
muchas gracias.
woman.
Angie
Great
Méndez,
event.
me ha
Thank you.
encantado este
Angie
foro,
Mendez,
lo he
I have
disfrutado
loved
cada
this forum.
minuto.
I have
Muchas gracias por
enjoyed it
darnos la
every
oportunidad de
minute.
conocerlos
Thanking you
y
for
conocer
giving us the
historias.
opportunity to
Y
meet
bueno,
you and to
otra
meet
historia
your
en este
stories, to
bloque
know your
cultural,
stories.
Alas
Another
de Arte.
story,
Vamos a escuchar
Alas de Arte,
la
in this
historia
cultural
que nos va a contar
segment. We will
Marcia
listen to
Saborío.
the story from Marcia Saborío.
Hola chiquillas, ¿cómo están? Bueno, para mí es un honor estar aquí con ustedes y además me pidieron que participara con un ratico de humor.
I am honored to be
Entonces me
here.
pongo yo a pensar
They asked me
en mi
to
stand-up
be
comedy.
humorous
Tengo un
with you.
stand-up
And I thought
comedy
about
y
stand-up
tiene que ver
comedy
con estos temas
and the
nuestros.
comedy
Estaba
that has
viendo un
to
día
do
de
with
estos que a Sara Jessica
ours.
Parker la criticaron
I
porque
saw
sale muy
Sarah
vieja en
Jessica
la serie
Parker
que está haciendo.
critiqued
Hazte
about
vos.
being
Y
too
entonces ella dijo, sí, es que estoy
TV series.
envejeciendo,
And she said,
¿verdad? Pero a Madonna
yes,
la
I'm
critican
getting
porque
old.
se ha hecho muchas operaciones. Y a
Madonna
la otra
is
porque se dejó las
critiqued by
canas.
having
¿Verdad? Y no
surgery.
estoy hablando de mí, de
Believe
otra. A
it or
la
not,
otra porque se
gray
tiñe, o
hair.
sea,
I'm not talking about
perdón.
myself.
Al fin
And
y
the
al
other
cabo,
one,
nunca vamos
because
a
she
quedar
is
bien.
dyeing her hair.
Nunca vamos a quedar bien. Yo no
We're
sé
not
con
going
quién es
to
que tenemos que quedar bien, porque al fin y al cabo,
be okay
con quien
with.
tenemos
I
que
don't
quedar
know
bien es con
whom we
nosotras
have to
mismas.
be okay with, but
Entonces me ponía
it
yo a
is with
pensar que,
ourselves.
bueno,
So I
que
was
dicha que
thinking,
ya estamos viviendo otros tiempos donde
good
las cosas
that
están
we are living
cambiando
in other
y donde las
times where
mujeres
things are
tienen
changing
más
and where
oportunidades y más
women
posibilidades
have more
de
opportunities,
encontrarse
more
consigo mismas,
possibilities
porque al fin y al
of
cabo creo que eso es lo que
finding
importa, el
themselves,
encuentro con
which
nosotras
is
mismas.
what matters,
Pero bueno, todo es
that
un poco
encounter with
difícil. Hay
ourselves.
como un cierto
So it is
pánico a
very difficult.
envejecer.
There's this
Y
panic
bueno, chiquillas,
to getting old.
envejecimiento
Well,
es un proceso
girls,
natural. El padre
aging is
tiempo
a
se
natural
aproxima a
process.
la madre
Father time
naturaleza y ahí poco a
reaches
poco
to
va quedando
Mother
uno
Nature, and little
aplastada.
by
Pero
little,
bueno, es
we
un
are
proceso
smooshed
natural y hay que
in
tomárselo
between. So this
con
is a natural
calma.
process,
Por lo
and
menos
we
las
have to
arrugas
take it
no
easy.
duelen, digo yo.
At least
Un día llega usted
wrinkles don't
al
hurt.
espejo y se
I
encuentra
mean, one day
un rayón.
you
Usted dice,
go,
¿pero qué es este
you see
rayón? No,
yourself
mamita,
in the
no es un
mirror,
rayón,
and
es
then you
una
say,
zanja que le
"This,
amaneció de
what
la
is
noche a
this?
la
No,
mañana
this is
y usted
not
ni
a
cuenta se
scratch.
dio.
No, it's not
Pero
a
bueno,
scratch.
su
It's
historia
a
tendrá esa
groove."
arruga,
Okay,
¿verdad? Así que chiquillas, miren, el
and
paso del
an
tiempo
amount of
es algo
stories
natural y hay que
this
irlo
groove has, but
procesando poco a poco.
we have to
Hay
process
algunos
this
síntomas,
little
¿verdad?
by
Por
little. There are
ejemplo,
certain
cuando el
symptoms. For example,
SPM, conocido como el
when the
síndrome
SPM or
premenstrual,
the
se les
PMS,
empieza a
the
convertir en el
premenstrual
DPM,
syndrome, is
demencia
PDM,
posmenopáusica, ¿ok? Miren, las
postmenopausal
que pueden tomar hormonas, perfecto, pero las que no,
senile
brócoli,
syndrome. Those who can
frijoles naciditos,
have hormones, okay.
las
If not,
semillas, todo eso
broccoli,
son estrógenos naturales, oigan.
seeds,
Bueno,
and natural
después
things, okay?
otro síntoma
But
del
then
paso del tiempo, por
another
ejemplo,
symptom
es cuando uno
of
empieza a medirse la
time
cara en
is
cuartas
when
frente al
you
espejo, ¿verdad? Así, la fuerza de
measure
gravedad,
your
usted
face
empieza a
with
medirse para ver
your
cómo era,
fingers
¿ok?
like this
Sí,
and like
hay
that,
unas que de una vez se lo
holding your
hacen y se
face.
operan de verdad, pero
There are
bueno, y
ones
ahora todo es
getting
foto,
surgery for
foto para
that,
arriba,
and
foto
that's
para
okay.
abajo, Y
And
llega uno y dice, "Oye, pero,
pictures here,
¿qué son
pictures
estas
there,
paperas?"
and then you
Dice uno,
see
"Ve, no, no es la
those and you
papera,
say,
esa es la
what
papada,
is this
que se
double
la
chin?
tomaron así
No,
en
it's not a
3D".
double chin.
Entonces, mire,
It is
yo tengo
yours.
un
It
tip muy
isn't 3D.
interesante ahora para
But
tomarse las fotos, porque tampoco
my tip
permitan que les
for
tomen fotos así,
your
porque sí, no,
pictures,
no, de ahí,
let me
uno
share my
tiene
tip
que,
for
¿verdad?, que
being in
cuidar sus
pictures and looking
ángulos.
good,
Usted se abraza
because
con
you
alguien,
know
es que
your
ahora no
angle.
puedo. Bernie,
You
vení,
hug
vení.
someone.
Voy a hacer una
Bernie,
demostración
come in.
con Bernie de
Come
cómo
here.
podría
Come.
hacer una
I'm going
foto
to
muy
demonstrate with
bonita,
Bernie
¿verdad? Digamos que
how
Bernie
we
y yo nos
can
vamos a
have
tomar una
this.
foto, ¿verdad?
Let's
Qué
say
cosa más
that we're
linda.
taking a selfie.
Entonces
Okay?
Bernie me
Look at
agarra a mí
this.
el pescuezo aquí, ¿verdad,
So
mamita? Aquí usted
Bernie
me lo
is
agarra,
grabbing my
yo se
neck
lo agarro a
from
usted,
here.
¿ve?
I grab
Entonces al
her
decir
neck.
3, nos
And
jalamos
then
el
when we
pescuezo
say
juntas,
3,
1, 2 y 3,
we
¿ve?
pull that
Claro,
together.
ya
Okay?
sin
1, 2,
máscara,
3.
gracias, mi amor, un aplauso
Without the
para la modelo,
mask, you can
¿verdad?
see it. An applause for this model. Yes, yes.
Digamos, ya sin mascarilla, usted,
Now,
la voy
without a
para hacerle
mask
una
on,
demostración. Digamos,
let
una
me
me la
give you the
jala por aquí
demonstration.
y el
So
otro me la jala
she
por
is
aquí.
pulling my
Y uno
neck
queda, vea,
here and the
como
other one
operado.
here.
Una cosa
Then
divina,
it
como
looks
15
like you
años se
had
quita uno
surgery.
en eso.
Like
Bueno, ese es
15
un
years you
tip,
take
chiquillas. Y
off
si no, pues que salga la
of
papada,
your
porque al fin y al cabo,
face.
ahí
I
está.
mean, it is
Otro
there.
síntoma del
But
paso del tiempo
another
es
symptom
cuando
of
cambiamos el saludo de tica
aging is
linda,
when we
¿verdad? Que uno
change
revoleaba así el
this
bracillo,
wave
¿verdad?
and you
Se
see your
llaman
arm
brazos de
doing this.
murciélago, ¿ve?
It is a
Entonces,
bat's
cuando
arm.
cambiamos
You know,
el
it
saludo de
looks like
tica
this.
linda por el
We change
saludo de
that
los
flap
gatos de los restaurantes
with
chinos, ¿ve?
the
Así, una cosa muy
Chinese
bella,
restaurant caps
porque, ¿verdad?
wave.
Ya
Okay, that is
aquello
what you
no.
do.
Un poquito de
Not like
pesita,
this,
chiquillas, nadar, cualquier
but
cosita que
you
sea.
can
Es por
you can
autoestima,
swim,
no es
you
por
can
nadie,
have
no es
some
para
ways
quedarle bien a
because
nadie,
of
es por
your
sentirse bien.
self-esteem, not to
Y si le gustan los
like
brazos
anybody,
de
no.
murciélago, simplemente usted los
And
muestra. Y punto, se acabó.
if we have
Otro paso de
bad
síntomas del
arms,
paso
that's
del
okay. I show
tiempo,
them to you.
cuando pasamos de la
And another
ropa
symptom
interior
is when
sexy
we
a la ropa
move on from
interior
sexy
ortopédica.
underwear to
Vea,
orthopedic
usted va por un
underwear. Let's see.
talladorcito, ¿verdad? Y le dan
You
una
look for a
camiseta,
brassiere,
o sea, porque hay
and
que
they give
parecerse a
you
alguien, ¿ok?
this
Que empieza
t-shirt,
aquí
okay?
arriba, cruzado para las
And
cervicales, ¿verdad? Para ir
it is
enderezando.
crossed here
Después usted se
for
va
your
abrochando aquello,
cervical
son como
area, then you
485 broches
button
aquí, ¿verdad? Y uno se pone
480
contenta,
buttons
porque vea,
there,
el
and then
mondongo
you're
aquí
happy
metido entre
because
los riñones, lo más lindo
this
no se ve. Panza
this
cero.
tire here that you have, it's
Aquellas,
not
que va que
flat
una para el
stomach,
norte y otra para el sur, no,
and
lo más lindas,
those
alineadas
are
como los planetas, ¿verdad? Eso que
aligned
usted
like
llega y
the
dice, ¿para dónde
planets, you know?
va? Para la Wef, dice
And
usted, ¿ya vine?
where are
Una
you
cosa
going? To WEF?
divina,
Oh, really?
fíjese,
Oh my
mamita, no
God.
importa. No es que para mí eso
That's
es
okay, Mom.
importante.
That's
Entonces,
okay.
claro,
It
ya
is very
usted más o
important.
menos se horma, ¿verdad?
Then
Volvemos al corsé de
somehow
los viejos tiempos.
you go
Falta el
back to
calzón
the
ortopédico.
corset,
El calzón
and then
ortopédico empieza aquí en la
the
rodilla. Ve, hay
orthopedic
que embarrarse un gel
panties.
helado para que le resbale
You
eso.
have
Y
to
usted se lo
have some
prensa aquí
Crisco
con
on
el
your
tallador
legs
ortopédico.
so it goes up,
Claro, como
and
una
then
Barbie, no hay palabras, ¿verdad?
you
O
look
sea, si
like
usted ve a
Barbie
alguien, otro día que
if you
ya
see
tengamos
someone.
esta presentación
Another day that we have this
presencial, usted ve a
presentation
alguna chiquilla que va para el
in
baño y
person,
va
and you
como
see
así, ¿verdad?
someone
Como así.
walking like this to the
Anda
bathroom,
ropa interior
like this,
ortopédica, porque lo único que se le mueve
they
a uno
have
son las
orthopedic
articulaciones.
underwear
Eso que dice
because the
uno,
only thing you
¿de
can
para qué
move is your
desodorante?
joints.
Mejor W40, dije
Why
yo, ¿verdad? Para
deodorant?
las articulaciones.
No, it's
Ay,
better
miren, por amor a Cristo,
W40
es que yo digo
for the love
que
of God.
además de que
What
las
I
cosas
say
han
is
sido
that
más difíciles
despite
para las
things have
mujeres,
been
encima
very difficult
nosotros
for
nos
women,
complicamos,
on
¿verdad?
top of that, we
Yo no ando
complicate
faja,
ourselves.
digamos, esto no es un
I'm not
mondongo, esto
wearing
es
any
una cicatriz
girdles.
queloide que
This
me
is
quedó ahí.
this is a
Vean, chiquillas,
scar, a big scar.
hablando
That's
un
it.
poco de que todo es más difícil
But
para
talking
las
about
mujeres,
everything
pues
being
uno se
so
pone a
difficult for
pensar
women,
también cómo
well, you think about
alivianarse el camino.
how
Porque a
to
veces hasta la
make your road
naturaleza
a little
le
lighter,
juega a uno una
because
mala
sometimes
jugada.
nature,
Ve, hasta para ir al baño. El otro día estaba yo
even to go to
en
the
un
bathroom.
apuro
The other day,
y me puse a pensar,
I
vea,
was
hasta para ir al baño para nosotros la
needing
cosa
to
es
go
más
to the
difícil.
bathroom.
Los hombres van
Things
al
are
baño
difficult
y
for
se
us.
acomodan así.
Men go to the bathroom and they just stand up
Mira,
and
bueno,
do that,
así, ¿verdad?
or like that, right?
Todo lo orinan, porque no importa, como
They
están a la distancia. Se acomodan y se van.
they do that
Ah, no, pero para nosotras es una complicación.
in a
Mire,
minute, but for us,
las
it is
mujeres vamos
complicated.
al baño.
You know,
Yo no sé cómo se verán
women,
ustedes,
we go to the
¿verdad? Pero uno se
bathroom. I don't
acomoda
know
a
how you
pulso,
do it,
como
but
así.
you have to
Mira,
have this
bueno,
balance. Get
Hay
ready.
días que el chorro es muy bonito,
There's some
así
days
parejito,
that
lo
the
más
stream
lindo.
is beautiful,
Pero hay días que usted se
straight,
atiene
but there
y
are
usted llega
days
y está en modo dispersión. Mire, es una cosa, es
that
una
you're
histeria
in
tremenda.
spray
Es
mode.
más, otro día usted llega, hay
Actually,
otro toque
the
que es
other
como
day,
así,
there's this
como
thing that
intermitente.
it's like this. like
¿De qué?
intermittent.
Es más, le voy
You
a
know?
decir una cosa, ya usted lo
Let me tell
tiene
you.
concentrado. Es más, ya usted, es más,
You
orina en
already
flor de
have it
loto. Lo más lindo
there.
así, ¿va? Usted lo tiene,
You
pero
have this
usted tose y se le
lotus
tuerce el
flower
chorro.
position, and you
Ojalá
cough,
usted ande
and
con
the
un
stream
pantaloncito
gets
beige
crooked.
o un
In
jeansito
particular,
claro.
if your
Usted sale del baño y dice, mira,
your
vieras qué
light
presión había en el lavatorio, dice
pants
usted.
or the beige
Entonces
color
uno no se la
pants,
juega.
you have to
Dicen los
justify
hombres que uno
yourself.
dura
I
mucho
mean,
en el excusado, pero no es porque uno
men
quiere.
say that
Es más,
women take
mire,
a lot
si
of time in
algún
the bathroom.
caballero está
I mean,
viendo esto, usted va con la
if
señora al
someone,
mall
if a man is
y ella entra al
watching
baño,
this, if you go to
métase a
the
ver,
mall and she goes to the bathroom,
tan de dos, Batman, ahorita al
go
estreno,
to the
vaya.
movies,
A las 4 ya ella sale.
go to the
Nosotros
go
vamos
to
al
the opening
excusado
at 2.
y lo
She will
primero
be
que hay
out
que
of
hacer
the bathroom at 4.
es
That's
agarrar
okay.
un bodoque de
So we
papel
go
higiénico, ¿verdad?
to the
Porque hay
bathroom
que
stall
limpiar la taza, porque
and
evidentemente
we
la
have
que
to
se acaba de
clean.
ir lo hizo a pulso
We
en
have
modo
to
de expresión.
clean there, and the
Entonces usted
previous
llega,
one did
agarra un
it in
bodoque de
spray
papel,
mode.
cuando es del bueno,
So
porque hay
you
uno que es muy
grab
baratillo, se queda usted con el pedazo en la mano, ¿verdad?
tissue
Le queda un
paper,
confeti
the
ahí
good
en el
one,
piso.
because
Bueno,
sometimes it's
es
not
más,
a good
es tan
one and
delgadito
you have
que se le
confetti
pega,
there.
usted parece loca dándole al chunche.
The one is like this,
Más se le pega. Entonces tiene que meterle la
and
uña y lo
it
parte
gets.
en 3, ¿ok?
What you
Se
do
hace
is
un
you use
bodoque
your
de papel
fingernail
higiénico, vea como
and
para
you
hacer
grab a
porrismo, ¿ok?
a
Hay
bunch
que
of
limpiar la
that
taza.
paper,
Bueno,
and then you
bien
have to
limpiadita,
clean
usted la
the
limpia
seat,
bien
the toilet
limpiadita,
seat.
¿verdad? Todo lo que
You
pueda.
clean the toilet
Muy
seat
bien.
as best
Tira
as
el
you can,
bodoque al piso. Hágame una
and you
tomita ahí para que
put it
vea
on
la
on
magistral
the
que ya
floor.
yo tengo experiencia.
Yeah,
Se limpia
right there on
todo
the
para
floor.
que, ¿verdad?
So you clean
Luego guarde, le
everything on the
toque el
floor.
pantalón al piso, se le
You know,
pega en el
your pants
zapato y lo
shouldn't
tira
touch
al
that
lado
thing
y a la par. Ya
on the
usted
floor, and then
limpió la
you
taza. Ahora
kick
hay
it
que forrarla.
on the other
Usted no se va a
stall.
sentar ahí, ¿verdad?
So you
Bueno,
cleaned it, but
entonces usted agarra
you
un
have
pedacito y
to
forra.
wrap it.
Un
So
pedacito
you
y forra.
grab a
Tiene que
piece
ser a
and you
pedacitos,
wrap
porque si
it.
usted agarra
It
la
has
tira
to be
entera, se le va
piece by
toda para
piece, because
adentro
if you do
y
that
se le taquea el
in a
excusado.
whole piece,
Ahora, hay cierto
it goes
problema, porque
down
ahora
the
la
toilet.
tecnología
So
moderna es muy corronga,
there
pero
are
a veces se
certain
estorba. Estos baños
problems.
ultramodernos funcionan con
These
sensores.
ultra-modern
Entonces usted pone un pedacito y le
toilets
jala el chunche.
have sensors,
Pone un
so
pedacito y le jala el
you
chunche.
put
Ya
one
cuando
piece
usted
and
quiere que
then
el
it
chunche le
flushes.
jale,
When you
no le
want this thing
jala.
to flush
Y ahí
your
está usted
thing,
meneándosele al
it doesn't
excusado
flush, and you're dancing
para que le jale,
on
¿verdad?
your toilet, so
El otro
it
problema que
senses you.
tenemos es la cartera.
But the other
Mamita,
thing is
tráigame su cartera.
the purse.
Vea qué cosa
Give
más
me your
linda.
purse.
Dios se lo
Give me
pague.
your purse. Okay,
Vea.
thank you, thank you.
Pero es
Look
que
at this.
vea las carteras
Oh, wow.
de las mujeres. ¿Qué es lo que
Look
anda ahí
at
usted?
this.
¿Qué metió?
What do you have here?
Para mí que ella está echando la vajilla
Oh my
que
God.
tienen aquí.
I believe
Vea.
she is stealing the china
Esto
from here.
sirve para los
But
brazos de murciélago,
I mean,
¿ve?
well,
Usted
this
hace
helps for
pesitas
your
con esto.
arms, you know, your
El otro
saggy
problema
arms.
que
Okay.
tenemos es la
The other
cartera.
problem we have is
Por lo
the
general,
purse.
usted se va a encontrar
Generally,
una
you will
mancha con
find
dos huecos donde hubo
a
un
stain with
colgador de carteras,
two
pero no
holes
hay.
where
¿Vea?
there was
Entonces,
a
¿qué es lo que
hanger, but
tenemos que hacer?
it is not there anymore.
Que se
So what you
acomoda
have to
aquí.
do is you get settled here and you do
El
this.
cuadro sería más o menos así.
The picture would be like this
Tampoco hay picaporte, ¿verdad?
because
O así,
there's no
usted ahí
lock
se
on
acomoda
the
como
door,
usted quiera.
or just like
Mire, hay
that.
otros que son más
I mean,
graves todavía porque funcionan con
there are some
movimiento. Entonces se le apaga la
serious
luz.
one
Entonces lo peor sería
because the
esto.
light needs movement to be active, and then the
Todo
light
eso
is turned
mientras
on
usted orina,
and
vea la
off.
complicación.
All of this while
Entonces,
you
bueno,
pee.
aquella orina es eterna porque de ahí tiene horas usted está
That
tratando.
is
Entonces de una vez usted ahí,
endless
mire,
pee.
revisa el
And then
celularcillo, vea.
you check on your
De
cell
una
phone.
vez, es más, se puede retocar, se maquilla, pues son horas
you
y horas
can-
orinando. Después de todo
You
esto,
can powder your nose
hay
again.
que
And after
volverse
all
a
that,
armar. Mire, y además hay un
we
problema.
have to get
Estos excusados
your
modernos,
pieces
yo no sé
back
quién
on.
inventó, pero esas puertas
I don't
tienen
know
como una
who
rendija
invented
alrededor,
this,
como de una
but these
pulgada.
doors,
Ya la gente
they
no
have like
toca para
1
saber si
inch
está
gap.
ocupado, se asoma para
People
saber si está
don't knock on the
ocupado.
door.
Usted ahí de,
They
está
just peek
ocupado, mamita.
if you're there, and then
Está
you say, no,
ocupado.
it's
De algo sirve
occupied,
la
occupied.
taquerilla. Bueno, después de que usted acabe de hacer
Oh my
todo
God.
esto, hay que volverse a armar,
After all this,
chiquillas.
you have to
No.
put
Ojalá
yourself
con
together
ropa
again.
interior ortopédica,
Oh my God.
¿verdad? Bueno, de eso
Imagine
que usted
with
ve a las
your
señoras
orthopedic
todas elegantes en un mall, todas
underpants.
entocarnadas,
So
lo más
you
divinas,
see this
con un pedazo de papel higiénico
ladies
guindando aquí en el zapatillo,
in the mall
¿verdad?
with
O
the
colgando aquí en la
tissue paper
nalguilla.
on
o metida así entre el panty, ojalá con una tanga
on
de
their
animal
panty
print.
or
Ah, no,
the shoe. In
Entonces, mire, yo
particular,
lo único que les
they're
puedo
wearing
decir,
animal print. I
porque esto
mean,
es como
the
decir
only thing I can
una
say,
de las partes de las que tenemos que
one of the
lidiar,
parts
pero
here
al fin y al cabo, las
that we
mujeres,
have to deal with
en este
at the end,
punto ya tenemos que darnos
women, at
cuenta que
this
somos
point,
mujeres
we have to realize that we
valientes,
are
poderosas,
brave women,
y
powerful
vea,
women,
no importa lo que
and
usted le haya tocado
it
hacer en la
doesn't
vida,
matter
solo revise.
what
Ha
you have to
criado
do
hijos, ha
in
ayudado
your life.
personas, ha cuidado
You have raised
viejitos,
children,
ha
you have
levantado,
helped
ha
people, you
dado
have
la
taken
mano
care of
a sus seres
the
queridos. Bueno,
elder,
¿qué no
you
podría
have
hacer
helped other
por
people
usted
around
misma?
you.
Hay un ingrediente muy
I
bonito
mean,
que
there's a beautiful
también es
ingredient
gratis y es un regalo.
that's
La
for
vida se
free.
encargará de ponernos arriba, abajo,
Life
de darnos sus
would
revolcones,
make us
pero hay
be
un
up or
ingrediente que es
down,
el que yo he utilizado en la vida
but there's this ingredient that I
para
have
seguir
used
adelante y es la risa.
to
Cuando
move
yo
on, which is
estudiaba
laughter. When I
mitología
studied
en la universidad, porque el teatro se
biology
estudia,
at the
chiquillas, es
university,
una profesión. Yo tengo el
I mean,
título ahí, si no me creen, lo ando emplasticado.
theater is a career as
En
well. I have
mitología había un
my
personaje
degree.
que se
In
llamaba Talía.
mythology,
Talía era
there
una
was
musa.
this Talia
Era la musa que
character.
inspiraba a los
Talia was
comediantes y a los
a
que
muse,
hacían reír a
inspiring
los demás.
comedians,
Decía Talía
making
que quien
others
había
laugh.
descubierto la
And
risa había
Talia
descubierto un
discovered
manjar más delicioso que la
laughter,
ambrosía, porque la risa era
which
medicina para
was
el alma y belleza para el rostro.
delicious. It was
Decía
medicine
Talía
for
que
your
la
soul
risa
and
era la
beauty to your
fortaleza de los
face.
débiles
Talia
y el
said it was the
enojo la
strength of
debilidad de
weak,
los fuertes.
and
Yo quería
anger
regalarles
was
esto,
the weakness of the
recordarles que la
strong
risa
people.
es un
I
don,
wanted to give you
es
this.
un regalo de
Remember,
Dios
laughter
y es la
is a
única escoba que
gift
puede
from God,
barrernos
and
las
it's
penas
the
del
only
alma.
broom
Que
that
tengan
can
una linda
sweep
tarde. Muchas
the
gracias y que
sorrows
Dios
of
los
your
bendiga.
souls.
Chao.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
Ay, gracias, Marcia. Te quiero
Wow, thank you,
muchísimo, te
Marcia.
admiro
I love
más
you very
todavía.
much. I
Sos una
admire
mujer
you
totalmente
even
empoderada
more.
y
You're
de
an
verdad que las
empowered
palabras
woman,
y el
and
humor
definitely
con el que nos has
words and
hablado esta
humor
tarde
you
han
have
inspirado, estoy
given
segura,
us,
a muchísimas más
inspired
personas. Así que
many other
gracias
people, I'm
por
sure.
compartir esto
Thank
con
you
nosotros.
for
Ayer tuvimos también
sharing
a
this with
otra
us.
gran actriz y
Yesterday
escritora,
we had
Fedra
a great
Rodríguez, a quien
actress,
también agradecemos
Fedra
el
Rodriguez.
espacio
We
y el
thank
talento que
the
nos
space and the
compartió.
talent
Y bueno,
she shared
continuamos
with
con el
us.
conversatorio.
Now we
Nuestro
continue with
siguiente
this
tema en este bloque
conversation.
de
So
salud
the
y
next topic
bienestar
in
se
this
llama
health and
neurociencia,
wellness block is
meditación y
neuroscience,
sanación
meditation and
alternativa para una
alternative
salud
healing for
holística.
holistic health.
Estamos con Alexandra
We
Kisling,
have
presidenta de la
Alexandra
Alianza
Kisling,
Empresarial para el
CEO of
Desarrollo
Business
AED y
Alliance for
presidenta de Voces
Development
Vitales,
AED and president of
Karim
Voces Vitales,
Chalakani, profesor
Karim
de Vipassana,
Chalakani,
Marieta
meditation
Rodríguez,
and Vipassana
terapeuta
professor,
holística,
Marietta Rodriguez,
fundadora de Satori
holistic
Reiki
therapist and founder
Healing
of
Center,
Satori Reiki
Nazaret
and Healing
Castellanos,
Center,
doctora en
Nazaret Castellanos,
neurociencia
doctor
y
in
dirige la
neuroscience,
investigación Relación Cerebro-Cuerpo en
directing
Mediadores,
the
desarrollada en la
relationship
Universidad
between
de Madrid,
brain
y Sandra García, terapeuta floral
in
y
Madrid,
aromaterapia,
and Sandra
directiva
Garcia,
de ALAS,
floral
quien
therapist and
funge como moderadora.
aromatherapist,
Los dejo en estos
board member of
próximos
ALAS,
45
who's
minutos
the
con tan
moderator.
distinguidas damas.
I leave you in this 45 minutes with these ladies.
Buenas tardes, le damos la bienvenida al Foro de Empoderamiento Femenino Wef Costa Rica 2022. Hoy vamos a contar con un tema que se llama Neurociencia, Meditación y Sanación Alternativa para una Salud Holística. Estamos bastante bendecidos porque contamos con la participación de unos excelentes panelistas. Para iniciar a conocer a nuestros panelistas, vamos a empezar con Alexandra Kisling, quien es presidenta de la Alianza Empresarial para el Desarrollo AED y presidenta de Voces Vitales. Ahora le pasamos la palabra a Alexandra.
Muy buenas tardes, Sandra. Muchísimas gracias por la invitación y por realmente convocarnos a hablar de este tema que ha transformado mi vida a lo largo de los años. Efectivamente, yo estoy liderando en este momento dos organizaciones, la Alianza Empresarial para el Desarrollo, que se dedica a temas de desarrollo sostenible con el sector empresarial, y Voces Vitales, que precisamente trabaja temas de empoderamiento y liderazgo femenino. Sin embargo, la pasión, el compromiso y el disfrute de mi trabajo constituye parte de generar una buena salud. Quizás les cuento un poquito cómo inició el camino a estas terapéuticas. en realidad fue buscando una mejor calidad de vida para mi familia. Yo tenía mis chiquitos pequeños y padecían de unas enfermedades ahí que me habían dicho, la menor tenía 3 años y me habían dicho que tenía
The
que
youngest
darle
one was 3 years
antibiótico
old, and they
profiláctico
told
por
me that I
6
had to
meses.
give her
Y yo dije,
prophylactic
¿cómo una chiquita tan
antibiotic for
pequeña se le
6
va a dar
months?
eso? Y comencé
And I
a
said,
hurgar
how am
ahí,
I
a
going to
buscar,
give her
y terminé
so much?
con un
And
homeópata
I ended up
médico, pero resulta que eso me cambió la forma de ver la vida,
working with a
porque
medical
yo venía
homeopath,
de una
and that
familia de
changed my life
farmacéuticos,
because
mi abuelo era
I
farmacéutico y tenía
came
unos tíos
from a
farmacéuticos, y
pharmaceutical
siempre había estado, digamos,
family, and
acostumbrada a la
I've been
medicina
always
alopática,
used
y de
to
repente entrar con
allopathic
homeopatía
medicine, and
me
then
forzó de
getting
alguna
into
manera a
homeopathy
ver
forced
diferentes
me
formas y sobre todo
to see
asumir la
different
responsabilidad en la
ways
prevención de la
and
salud.
taking on
Comencé a ver un
responsibility
cuerpo
and
físico que
prevention.
necesitaba una
There
nutrición,
was the
una
physical
alimentación, buen
body
descanso,
and good nutrition,
hidratación,
rest,
pero
hydration.
también vi que no éramos
But
solo
I
un cuerpo
also saw
físico, sino que
that it
también había una
was
parte mental,
not only
emocional,
a
y
physical
había una parte
body,
espiritual,
but
y que
mental,
el
emotional, and the
bienestar de la
spiritual
salud, como bien lo
part.
dice la Organización
In the
Mundial de
wellness,
la
as
Salud, es no
well as the
solamente la
World
ausencia de
Health
enfermedad,
Organization says,
sino el bienestar a
it
nivel
is not
físico,
only the
mental,
absence of
emocional,
illness, but
social
also
y
taking
espiritual. Y
into
eso,
account the
les cuento,
spiritual
para mí
health.
cambió un antes y un
And that
después,
was the
tanto
turning point for me,
que
because
a pesar de que ya desde ahí yo tenía
despite
una
that, from
importante
there,
influencia, digamos,
I
como
already
emprendedora
had this
empresarial,
important
me di
influence
cuenta
as
que lo
an
mío era más lo humano.
entrepreneur
Y
in the
eso me
business area.
permitió
I realized that
recorrer un camino completamente
I like the human
diferente.
part, and
Me
then that
comencé a
made
estudiar
me take a
psicología,
different
abrí un
path. I
instituto de
started
promoción de la
studying
salud
psychology.
que
I
se
opened
llamó
a
Prana,
new standard for
y
promotion of
estaba
health
conformado
called
por
Prana,
socios
and it
médicos
was created
y
by
otros
medical
socios
associates
que
and
eran más
other
capitalistas,
capitalist
pero habían,
partners
digamos, tenido la
with the
experiencia de usar
experience
terapéuticas
using
alternativas
alternative
y,
measures.
digamos, mejorar
And
muchísimo su
in
salud.
that process,
En ese proceso, habiéndome
improving their
graduado de
health.
psicóloga,
So in that process, I
eh,
have graduated as a
y
psychologist
experimentando otro tipo de terapéuticas,
and
conocí al doctor Deepak
experiencing
Chopra. Estoy hablando
different
de los
techniques.
años
I met Deepak Chopra. I'm talking about
94,
the years
95,
94, 95,
y me hice
and
instructora de
I
meditación para el
became an
Centro Chopra.
instructor
Y en realidad
for
eso cambió mucho la
meditation
vida.
at
Y
the
aquí
Chopra
quiero
Institute, and
detenerme
that
porque esto
changed my
fue
life.
otro
Let
momento
me
muy
stop
importante.
here for a moment
Por
because
una
it was a very
circunstancia de
important
vida, yo
moment for
estaba
me
viviendo
because
con
of
mi
the
esposo y mis hijos en los
circumstances of
Estados
life. I was
Unidos.
living in
Y
the
de
United States with
pronto
my husband and
sentí que
children,
tenía un
and
entorno muy bueno,
suddenly
estaba
I
estudiando,
felt that I
no
had a
tenía
good
ningún
environment.
problema
I
en el exterior, todo lo
have no
contrario, tenía una
issues. I
buena
had no
vida,
issues
pero
outside.
había algo que
I
me
had
faltaba.
a good
Sentía
life.
una
There was something
carencia,
that I
no me
was
sentía
missing.
completamente plena.
I have this lacking. I
Y
didn't
eso
feel
fue muy
fulfilled.
importante porque en
And
este
that was
momento que
very
llegó el
important for
doctor
me because
Chopra
Dr. Chopra
a Minnesota,
came
que era donde yo
to
estaba viviendo,
Minnesota,
comenzó a
where
hablar
I
de la
was living,
meditación,
and
comenzó a
he talked
hablar
about
de todos
meditation and
estos temas,
all these
y eso
topics
fue para
that he
mí
was talking
un
about. And that
cambio
to
de
me,
antes y después, porque
that was a change.
entendí que en realidad la felicidad no me la daba el exterior, sino que realmente era un punto
That
de
happiness
partida
was not coming
desde
from
adentro, desde cómo
outside. It
conectar
was
con esa parte más
a starting
profunda
point
y
from
más
the inside,
esencial
from
que
the
nos da
deeper
la mayor
and most
motivación
essential part,
y que no
given us,
depende
not
de nada del exterior
depending
realmente para sentir
on
una gran
external
plenitud,
factors to feel
amor,
fulfilled,
felicidad y
this
una
love,
serie de cosas,
happiness,
pero
and a
también
series of things, but also
permitirnos tener una
to know,
resiliencia muy
to
importante, un poder
allow us
interno
to have resilience,
importante
very
para los
important,
momentos difíciles.
this internal
Después de esa
power for
experiencia en los
difficult
Estados
times.
Unidos fue que en
After
realidad
my
vine a Costa
experience in the
Rica
United States, I came to Costa
y
Rica,
tuve el Instituto
and
Prana
I
por
had
10
the
años
Prana Institute for
hasta
10 years
que
until
mi padre murió y mi vida
happened
dio un
that
giro
my father
importante. Me pidieron,
passed
siendo yo
away and my life
psicóloga
turned
y
upside down, and
trabajando
I was, well,
diferentes
I was a
métodos alternativos en
psychologist
esta clínica de
working
promoción de la
different
salud,
alternative
que
methods
además entendía yo que mucha
and a
gente cuando
clinic
ya
for the
no
promotion of
tenía
health.
otra respuesta,
And
llegaban ahí,
when
transformaban
not having the
su
answer,
estilo de vida y no
people
solo tenían una mejor calidad
came
de
to
vida,
us and they
sino que se
didn't recover from
recuperaban de
that.
esto.
They had a
Pero en
different
ese
and different
momento, como les
lifestyles, so
mencionaba, mi
they
padre
recovered.
murió y me
Like
pidieron
I
que
said,
fuera
my
parte de
father
la Alianza Empresarial para el
passed away, and
Desarrollo,
they asked me
porque
to be part of
tenían
the
la necesidad de
Business
alguien
Alliance
que
for
les
Development
permitiera
because they
trabajar en
had the need
proyectos
to have someone allowing
de
them to work
desarrollo
in
humano sostenible.
sustainable
Y fue un
human
reto bien
development
interesante
plans.
porque yo
It was a
decía,
very
bueno, ¿cómo
interesting
voy a hacer
challenge
esto? Pero en eso
because I
pensé,
said,
yo
how am I
siempre
going
había
to do this?
querido
But then I thought,
en este
I've
proceso de
always
descubrimiento
wanted
hacer servicio, era
to have
parte
this
de todo este cambio de
discovery
vida. Y pensé
process
que una de las maneras
in
de generar
change.
mayor
And I
impacto y
thought one
servir
of the
de una
ways of
forma mucho más
serving
grande,
to do
era a
service
través
and
de
to work in a
trabajar
bigger
con
way
sectores
was to work
que
with
tenían
these
una influencia
sectors
importante en el
with
país y sobre todo
important
con líderes,
influence
y
in the
ayudar
country, in
y
particular
acompañar a
with
estos
leaders
líderes
to
también
work
a transformar
with
su
them
conciencia. Y
to
temas
help
de
them
desarrollo
transform
humano
their
sostenibles eran parte
conscience
de
and
ese objetivo.
with the
Y
sustainable
lo mismo me
human development
pasó,
topics as well.
entré en la
And the
Alianza
same thing
Empresarial para el
happened,
Desarrollo y eso me
getting into the
llevó
Business
a
Alliance
otras
for Development,
iniciativas
taking
con
me to other
el
initiatives with
Aspen
the
Institute, que es un
Aspen
instituto
Institute,
que
which is an institute that
se enfoca
focuses
sobre todo en
on
acompañar a ejecutivos o
working
a
most of
líderes
all
globales
with
que
global
ya tienen un
leaders
camino
with a
caminado
determined path
para que puedan
so they can work
trabajar
on
sobre todo sobre su liderazgo y
their
desarrollar ciertas
leadership in
características para
developing
que
these
usen esa
characteristics to
capacidad
use
para
this
transformar el
capability
entorno donde
to
viven.
transform the environment they
En esa
live in.
iniciativa me desarrollé como
And with this
moderadora de
initiative,
grupos
I was the moderator of
lo que
groups,
llaman
as they
fellows
call it,
en Centroamérica, que
fellows
son
in
líderes
Central America
importantes
who
de la
are
región,
important
para
leaders in
poder
the region
transformar
to
también su
transform
conciencia, si queremos
their
decirle,
conscience
a
as well,
través de
if we want to say so,
ciertas lecturas,
helping them
ciertas
with certain
prácticas,
lectures,
entre ellas la
practices,
meditación y otras,
among them
y
meditation and
pudieran ir
others,
transformando su
so they
nivel de
could
conciencia para
transform their
poder
level of conscience, so they
tener
could
liderazgos
have
que promuevan un sentido y
leadership
significado
promoting
profundo
a
en sus
deep
vidas.
meaning in their
Luego,
lives.
gracias a esa
With
misma
that
iniciativa, en el
initiative
2010 me
in
invitaron en Centroamérica
2010,
para que
they invited
pudiera
me
abrir y fundar el
to
capítulo de
Central
Voces
America
Vitales aquí en
to
Costa Rica.
to
Y de
found
nuevo,
of
aunque
this
trabajamos
Voces
en el
Vitales chapter here
empoderamiento
in Costa
económico
Rica,
de las
and
mujeres
again
y en
we
el
worked in the
empoderamiento en
economic
general,
empowerment
una de las
for
cosas que
women
nos
and
hemos
general
enfocado desde
empowerment.
ese momento ha
One of
sido
the
en el
things
liderazgo consciente,
is that we
entendiendo
focused
que
on
el
conscious
liderazgo para
leadership
nosotras en
for
Voces
us, for
Vitales
Voces
es la
Vitales. It
forma como
is
podemos, a
the
través de un
way
viaje de
through
autoexploración y autodescubrimiento,
self-discovery to
encontrar
find
aquello que es valioso para
something
nosotros,
that is
encontrar nuestros
valuable for
talentos
us,
y
finding
encontrar
those
esos dones
gifts,
y esos regalos que
those
nos ha
presents
dado la vida para poder
from
realmente
life
servir
to
mejor,
live,
acompañar a otras mujeres
to
y a otros
work with
seres
other
humanos,
women
hombres, niños,
and other
jóvenes,
human
a
beings,
descubrir también su
men,
valor y su
women, children,
talento
to
y poder
discover their
ponerlo
talents
al
and their skills
servicio de
and
una
to put them
comunidad, al servicio de un
to the
país
service of the
y desarrollar
community
esas
and the country and
relaciones
developing those
ganar-ganar entre todos.
win-win relationships.
Entonces, un poco
So
les
this
hago,
is
en realidad, de una historia bastante
a
larga, traté de
long
resumir,
story
no
that
conté
I
mi parte
tried to
empresarial
summarize. I
cuando
didn't
inicié
tell you
una
about
cadena
my
de
business part
restaurantes,
where
pero
I
como
started
para
with
tratar
the
de mostrar cómo
food
ese
chain restaurant,
acercamiento
but
a una salud
letting you
integral,
know
a entender
that
que la salud
getting
es un
close to integral
proceso,
health and having a comprehensive
digamos,
health
de múltiples
is a
dimensiones, donde nosotros,
universe of
cada ser
diverse
humano, tiene que
dimensions
hacerse
where
cargo primero
human
de su
beings
cuerpo,
themselves, they have to
aprender
take
a
care of their
conocerse
body,
en las
their
diferentes
health,
dimensiones
and
y
to give
aprender a
to
darle
their
a las diferentes
dimensions everything
dimensiones lo que
they
cada
need
una
to work
necesita para poder
better
funcionar mejor como ser humano y compartir
as
lo mejor de
human
nosotros
beings
mismos
and
entre
to
los demás,
share
es algo que ha marcado
with
mi vida
other
y que está
human beings and
presente
ourselves.
en
And
cualquier
this is
trabajo o
something that
cualquier,
marked
digamos,
my life,
labor
and it is
a la
present
cual yo
in
me dedico.
everything that
Un
I
poquito,
do.
eso
It's
era
a little
que
bit
quería
No,
of
compartir.
realmente
what
es
I
un
wanted
gran
to share
camino
with you.
recorrido y veo
It's
que
great
la
to
transformación
see
ha sido
that
parte
the
de él, tanto
transformation is part of
transformación de vos misma
yourself
como ayudar a
and
transformarse a otros. Te
helping
agradecemos
others to
muchísimo
transform themselves. So we
que
thank you very
compartieras
much
esto y
for
ahora pues
sharing
vamos a
with
continuar un
us.
poco.
So we
Para
will
seguir
continue.
adelante, ahora vamos a
We will
presentarles a Marieta
continue. I'm going
Rodríguez.
to introduce you
Marieta
to
es
Marieta
terapeuta
Rodríguez.
holística,
Marieta is
maestra
a
de
holistic
sanación,
therapist,
maestra Reiki y
master of
fundadora de Satori
Reiki,
Reiki y
and
Healing
founder of
Center.
Satori Reiki
Nos
and
gustaría que
Healing
nos
Center.
contés un poco de
We would
cómo
like
has
you to
recorrido
tell
este
us
camino,
a little bit
Marieta, que compartas
on
con
how
nosotros, por
you
favor.
have gone through this
Mucho
path,
gusto.
Marieta. It's a pleasure
El acercamiento mío a
to
la salud
approach. Well,
holística es
my
bastante diferente
approach
al de
to
Alexandra,
holistic health
en el
is very
sentido
different
de
from
que mi
Alexandra's
proceso es un
in the
proceso
sense
que
that my
comenzó siendo
process
muchísimo
began
más íntimo
being a little
que
more
social.
intimate
Hace
than social.
34 años me diagnostican
34 years
esclerosis
ago, I was
múltiple
diagnosed with
y
multiple
me
sclerosis,
dicen que me quedan
and
2 años de
they
vida,
told me
lo
that I
máximo,
had
y tengo un
maximum
hijo de 1 año y
2
medio.
years of life, and I have a
Este
child 1 year and a half
impacto
old.
que me
And
genera
this impact
este diagnóstico
generating
me lleva por un camino
something from this
lleno de
diagnosis
sorpresas
gives
e
me
incertidumbre, porque yo
uncertainty and surprises
decido
because
no aceptar
I
la
decide
la
not
opinión
to
médica,
accept
a
the
pesar de que
medical
la
opinion,
respeto profundamente, pero
although I respect it deeply.
tenía para ese momento estudios en
Back then,
psicología,
I
en
had
teatro,
studies in
en
psychology,
meditación, en
theater,
había
meditation,
comenzado este camino, pero esta
I
sorpresa
had begun this
adelanta
road
mi
with a
proceso de una
surprise,
manera diferente.
taking me this
Lo
process in
primero
an
es
expected
que
way.
pongo en
So the
práctica lo
first
que
thing
hoy hago para
is
otras
I
personas y es
put into
que
practice what
busco
I do for
dentro de
other
mí
people. So I
cuál es la
search
verdadera
within myself.
razón, cuál es la
What's the
verdadera
true reason
idea. Y
and
esto
the
suena un poco
true
fácil,
idea?
pero no
And
lo
this
es tanto.
sounds easy, but
Yo
it's not that
en aquel
easy.
entonces y hoy creo
Back then,
que
and I believed
lo que nos
that
pasa en este
what
plano
happens
de una u otra manera
in this
comienza con una idea que nosotros
area,
tenemos
in this
en
era,
nuestro
begins with an
inconsciente,
idea that begins
que
in our
puede ser implantada
subconscious,
o puede ser
that can be
creada.
planted or it could
Y
be
yo
created.
busco aquella idea
And I
original
searched for
que me
that original
permita
idea,
salir
letting
de ese
me
estado porque me quedé
step
sin
out
caminar y me
of
quedé
that
sin
state
hablar
because I couldn't
y
walk, I couldn't
hago un
talk,
proceso
and I
de
had this
introspección muy profundo. Llego
introspection process,
a
which is very
momentos
deep
difíciles de mi vida.
in
Yo
different areas of my life,
tuve experiencias de
and
abuso en la
I
niñez.
had experiences of
Y lo que
abuse in my
hago en ese
childhood.
momento
And
es
what I
tratar
did
de
at
encontrar
that moment
esa experiencia que
is
se
to
vivió
try to find
y darle
that
un giro
experience
diferente para poderlo
that I
volver
lived and
una
to give it
oportunidad
a
para
twist,
mí.
making it an opportunity for me.
Exacto. Y lo que hago es,
Exactly, to
Sandra,
begin.
muy simple.
Yes. And
Hago
what
este
I did
proceso
was very
y
simple,
comienzo
Sandra.
a ver qué
I took this
siento,
process and I
qué
started to
quiero,
see what I feel,
qué me
what I
enamora,
want,
cómo puedo hacer
what
esto
makes me feel in love,
con el corazón.
how can I
Y
do
así
this
comienzo a
with my heart.
levantarme de la silla de
And I
ruedas, pero también me
stand up
comienzo
from my wheelchair, but I also
a dar cuenta de que esto es algo que todos
realize
podríamos
that
hacer
this is
y
something
que
that
esto puede
everybody can
cambiar
do,
nuestra vida.
that
Mi vida
this may
cambia por
change our
completo
lives.
a
My
partir
life
de ese
changes
momento.
completely from
Muy
then
poco a
on,
poco yo
and
comienzo
very
a
little by
hacer un
little I start
proceso de pasos para
the
poder ayudar a
process
otras
of steps
personas
to help other
y
people,
en eso termina
and
convirtiéndose Satori, que
that
es
it
un
ended up
centro que promueve
being
la
in
salud
Satori,
holística hoy
which
por
is
hoy,
the center
a pesar de
promoting
que yo me he
holistic
dedicado
health
también a otras áreas, no
nowadays,
sé, a
despite
motivación,
I have
hago podcast
dedicated
y
myself to
viajo a
other
trabajar
areas,
inclusive con
motivation,
empresas
and I
buscando
travel with
el
companies
propósito de
looking
las
for
empresas como
the
un tema
purpose
más
of companies
espiritual.
in a spiritual
El desarrollo de
topic.
una vida espiritual para mí ha
The
sido
development of a
determinante porque al
spiritual
final
way to
es
me
el
has
que
been very important
sostiene
because at the end,
todas mis
that is what
creencias
holds
y me
all my
hace verme a mí
beliefs
misma como una
and
mujer
makes me see myself
poderosa,
as
lo
a
hablábamos hace un
powerful
ratito,
woman. We were talking about that a
llena
moment
de
ago,
defectos por cosas que
full of
solucionar,
flaws,
pero
and
con un gran
thanks to that I
poder
have to
de
solve, but
renovación, de aceptación
with a
del
great
cambio
renewal acceptance to
y
change power
de hacerme cargo de mi vida. Que
and to
eso
make
es lo último que te
myself
digo porque sé que
responsible
tenemos un
of my
tiempo
life.
medido.
And that is what I'm
Pero
telling you
creo que
about.
la
I know we
modificación
have
más
a certain amount of
importante es
time, but the
comprender
most important thing
que
is to
nosotros somos los
understand
dueños de nuestra realidad, que
we
somos
own our
nosotros los
own
que
reality.
creamos
It is ourselves
esa
who create
realidad y que
this
si
reality,
aprendemos los
and if we
mecanismos
learn
a
the
través de los
mechanisms
cuales
through which
la vamos creando,
we
porque la
created,
creamos
we
siempre,
created because we can
con
create it
conciencia o sin ella, pero cuando
always,
tenemos
with or without
conciencia
conscious.
de este poder
But
creativo
when
que
we are aware about
tenemos,
this
nuestra vida
creative
puede
power,
transformarse por completo
our
y
lives
transformar con ello
can be
a todas
transformed
nuestras familias,
and
sociedades y todo lo que
transform our
necesitemos.
families,
Muchas
societies, and
gracias.
everybody around us.
Excelente.
Thank you very much.
Muy
Excellent.
claro cómo las crisis
Very
en
clear
general
how crisis
hacen que
in
el ser
general
humano se transforme
makes
si lo toma en
the
forma
human
positiva, ¿verdad?
beings
Como una
to
oportunidad.
take something
Ahora
like
vamos
that
a,
into
a
positive.
escuchar
That's an
a
opportunity.
Karim
Now we will
Chalacani,
listen to
quien es
Karim
profesor
Chalacani,
de
who is a professor of
meditación vipassana.
meditation,
Perdón, creo que lo pronuncié
Vipassana,
mal. Vipassana es,
meditation
¿verdad,
and
Karim? Por
Vipassana.
favor,
I'm
si
so
me
sorry.
confirmas para ver cómo
I
es que
don't
se
know,
dice.
I'm
Y que nos
mispronouncing
cuentes,
that.
por favor,
You can help me out with
cómo
that.
es este tipo de
And
meditación y cómo has
you
llegado
can
tú
tell us
también a todo este camino,
about
porque
this
como hoy
type of
también estamos
meditation
hablando de meditación muy
and
importante.
how
Bueno, mi
you
nombre es
got to this
Karim.
path.
Muchísimas gracias por
Yes, my name
permitirme
is Karim.
participar de
Thank you
este
very much for
panel.
letting me
Soy
participate in
originalmente
this
de
panel. I
México,
am
de
from
familia
Mexico
paterna
originally.
de
My
Egipto y
father's
familia
side, it
materna
is from
mexicana.
Egypt, and my mother's
Y
side
bueno,
is from
crecí en
Mexico.
México y desde muy
So I grew
joven
up in
tenía
Mexico.
como
Since I was
gran
very young, I
inclinación hacia lo
had
espiritual,
this
hacia entender
instinct to
qué
being
hacemos aquí,
spiritual.
por qué estamos aquí y bueno, mi búsqueda
why we're
empezó muy
here, what are
joven.
we doing here.
A los
So I
15
started this
años me fui
search
a vivir a
very
Egipto,
young.
de
When
donde
I
es
was
mi
15, I
abuelo
moved to
paterno.
Egypt, where
Tenía
my
ganas de conocer a mi
grandfather
familia y
on my
entender como
father's
mis
side was.
raíces de ese
I
lado.
wanted to understand my
Y bueno, el
roots
viaje resultó ser
and
como un
understand that.
viaje
So
que
this
rompió mucho mis
travel, this trip
paradigmas,
was
una
something
nueva
that broke
cultura,
my
un nuevo
paradigms,
lenguaje, una nueva
another
religión,
culture, another
toda
language,
una nueva
religion.
forma de ver la vida que
It was a
rompió
new way of
mucho la
seeing life,
burbuja en la que yo
and it
crecí y que
bursted
definía,
my
digamos, la
bubble,
realidad para
the
mí.
bubble
Entonces,
defining
esta
my
ruptura
reality.
de
So
paradigmas
this
me lleva
rupture of
también
paradigms
como a una cierta crisis, a un
led me to a
cierto
certain
cuestionamiento más
crisis,
profundo de qué se trata
to a
esto, si
deep
no es lo
level.
que yo pensaba que era
What is
de
this if it is not what I
mi
thought it
pequeño
was
núcleo, y el
in
mundo
my
es mucho más
small
amplio que eso.
core?
Entonces
It
debe
was
haber
bigger
mucho
than
más
that.
también
So
por
there should be
descubrir.
a lot
Entonces
more
regreso
to
a México
discover,
con
I
esa
said
necesidad como de
to myself. So I
integrar y
came back to
digerir el
Mexico with a
proceso
need to
vivido
integrate
allá.
into
Y un
assimilating this
amigo de mi
process that I had
papá
over there, and a
me
friend of
recomienda
my
Vipassana,
father
que son de
recommended me
meditación de 10 días que sean en un
the
contexto
Vipassana, which is a meditation of
de
10 days within
mucha
this deep
profundidad, son
meditation
unos
and the
10, 11 horas de
context.
meditación. Entonces, bueno, el momento
And
en que me dice
well, at
me
the
llama
moment
muchísimo
where
la
I
atención, me
had this,
inscribo a un
I was
curso
drawn
y el
into
curso
that.
se
I had
vuelve
this
pues un
course, and this
parteaguas,
course
muy
was
clave
a
en mi vida.
key
Y se
moment for
vuelve,
me.
la verdad, como
And it is actually
desde el principio
from
algo que yo
the very
sabía que quería hacer
beginning
por el resto de
something
mi
that I
vida
knew
y
I
también
wanted
como
to
una
do for the rest
brújula,
of my
algo
life.
que ha
And that was like the
definido
compass
mucho mis
influencing
decisiones futuras. Entonces elegí
my
a
future
raíz de
decisions.
eso
So I
estudiar
studied
yoga y entrenarme como
because of
profesor
that
de yoga
yoga.
para
I trained
complementar
myself
la
to
meditación y
complement
tener también un
meditation
sustento.
and to
Decido
have
irme a vivir
some
a la
substance.
India por
And I
5 años,
went to
profundizar
India
tanto en la
for
meditación como la
5 years
yoga
studying
y
meditation like
eventualmente pues la
yoga.
vida me
And
lleva a
then it
Costa
takes
Rica, en donde
me
estamos
to Costa Rica,
al
where we're
servicio de la comunidad
to the
Vipassana
service
aquí en
of
Costa
the
Rica.
Vipassana
Ahora
community in
vamos a
Costa Rica.
continuar
Now we
con
will
nuestra
continue
invitada panelista
with our guest,
Nazaret
Nazaret
Castellanos, directora
Castellanos.
de
She is
investigación
the
del
research
laboratorio
director of
Niracara
the
y cátedra
Niracara
extraordinaria de
Laboratory and
mindfulness y
Extraordinary Chair
ciencias
of
cognitivas de
Mindfulness
la
and Cognitive
Universidad
Science
Complutense de
of the
Madrid.
Complutense
Le damos la
University of Madrid.
bienvenida a
We welcome you,
Nazaret.
Nazaret.
Hola, me llamo Nazaret
Hi,
Castellanos, soy
I'm Nazaret
licenciada
Castellanos. I'm
en física
licensed
teórica
in
y doctora en
theoretical
neurociencia
physics,
e
in
investigo en un
neuroscience,
laboratorio
and I
la
have
influencia que
to
tiene el
search
organismo sobre el cerebro y
have
cómo
this research
depende de
in
la
organisms for the
meditación,
brain
de
and
la
how
capacidad de
meditation
observarnos
and
a
the capability
nosotros
to
mismos. Yo
observe
estuve muchos años
ourselves have
dedicada a
influenced in
estudiar la
us.
enfermedad de
I've
Alzheimer,
studied
estudiar
for
el daño
many years
cerebral, cómo una persona
Alzheimer's
se
and brain damage,
recuperaba después de haber tenido un
and I saw
traumatismo
people
o un
recovering after
accidente
trauma,
cerebrovascular,
after a
pero
stroke,
también estudiaba cómo una
and
persona iba
I also studied
degenerando
how
hasta llegar a un
people were
estado de
degenerating until they
demencia.
were
Después de muchos años trabajando pues, sobre
in the
la
senile
enfermedad, decidí cambiar,
stages. But
decidí
how this
estudiar pues,
changed,
cuáles eran
I
los
decided to
factores que
study
nos hacía
how about
crecer
the
a
factors
nosotros
making us
mismos.
grow
Una de mis grandes
ourselves.
inquietudes y de
One
mis
of my
grandes preguntas
great
era si
concerns
la
and questions was
neurociencia, el
if
estudio del
neuroscience
cerebro, puede
and the
ayudar a
study of the
conocernos a
brain
nosotros mismos y
could
puede
help
hacer que estemos
ourselves
mejor.
to know
Entonces, para
ourselves and
hacerlo,
to
en
make
aquel
us feel
momento,
better. So to do
por
that,
motivos
back then,
personales, porque yo siempre había estado muy
because of
vinculada
personal
a la
issues, I started,
meditación, pues decidí que
I
podríamos
have
estudiar qué
been
pasaba en
linked
el
to
cerebro de las
meditation. I
personas
thought about
que
learning from
meditan.
what's
Yo
happening
en
in the
aquel
brains
momento
of
pues
people
colaboraba
who
en
meditate.
Madrid
And
con el
at that
centro
moment, I was
tibetano,
working
donde pues
in
asistía a
Madrid, and then I went
meditaciones,
to
donde
the Tibetan Center
organizamos
for meditations, and
una
we
reunión entre monjes
organized this
tibetanos y
meeting
profesores de la
with
universidad para
the
establecer
Tibetan
puentes entre
professors in the
la ciencia y el
university
budismo en este caso.
having
Entonces,
this
una vez aquí
Buddhism
el
and
centro tibetano,
university
pues, queríamos
collective.
organizar
So
un gran
we
evento
wanted to organize
budista en
this
este caso que
huge
estuviese
event,
vinculado
the
con la
Buddhist
universidad.
event.
Ahí es donde
I
conocí al que fue
linked
mi
it to the
compañero
university.
y
There,
fundador
I met
conmigo
my colleague
del
and the
laboratorio,
founder
Gustavo, con
of
el que
the
pues
laboratory, Gustavo,
empezamos
with whom
a
we began
investigar qué
to
pasa cuando
investigate
meditamos. Lo
what
que queríamos
happens
era hacer
when we
una
meditate. What we
neurociencia que
wanted to
fuera
do
sobre todo
was
muy humana,
to
que nos
have this
hablase del día a
neuroscience that
día.
was
No queríamos
humane
estudiar a grandes
and to be
meditadores,
at our
personas
service
que
every
dedican su
day. We
vida
didn't want to
a la
study great
meditación, que
meditation
viven en
masters, people
monasterios, en
in
un contexto muy
monasteries,
diferente al
or
nuestro, ¿no? Yo
people
lo
who
que
are
quería era
doing this every
estudiar los
day. I
beneficios de la
wanted to study
meditación
the
en
effects
personas
of
como yo,
meditation
que
and
no
in
siempre pueden
people like
sacar un
me,
ratito para
who
meditar,
not
donde
always can
tenemos
have this time
problemas
to meditate,
diarios, donde hay
people with
estrés, donde no
problems with
sabes cómo
stress,
gestionar el ser mamá, el
and
trabajar,
when you don't
pues
know
un poco
how to
el día a
be
día
a
de lo que
mother and
vivimos
work.
gran parte de
And
nosotros y
that
de
was the
nosotras
idea.
en este caso,
of what
¿no?
we had.
Entonces empezamos a estudiar
So we
pues,
started
a
to
las
study
personas pues, como nosotros que
people
sacaban un ratito,
like
media
us,
hora al día
who took
para estar
a little
consigo
time,
mismo.
30
A mí
minutes
lo
a
que me
day
gusta
to
es
be
esa
with
definición
themselves.
de la meditación,
So
como dice Pablo
I
II,
like
es
the
ese combate
meditation
con
definition,
uno mismo, ¿no? En el
and
que
that is
nosotros nos
like
sentamos a
this
estar
battle
con
with ourselves.
nosotros,
We sit
queremos
down to
explorar
be with
qué
ourselves,
pasa
and
en
we want to
nuestro
explore
cerebro y lo
what
que nos deja
happens in our
hacer. Entonces es
brain,
un combate,
and
un baile entre lo
wouldn't let
voluntario y
us
lo
do so.
voluntario. Pero sobre todo es un
This
tiempo
is
en el
the
que uno se
dance
sienta
between
a
the
estar con
struggle,
uno
the
mismo.
voluntary and
Esto pues
volunteering
hace unos
things.
10
So
años ya pues
when we
era
are with
algo un poco
ourselves
raro
10
en el
years
mundo
ago, 10 years
universitario.
ago,
Cuando
and
llegamos
it was
allí a la
very weird to
universidad
have
y pues bueno, pues queremos
this at the
estudiar a personas
university,
que
and
meditan,
we were
pues
saying
la verdad es que no
when we
se
want to
veía
study
un poco el
people who
interés que
meditate,
podía tener. Pues la
and we
investigación
didn't
no
see
recibe
this. We
mucho dinero
didn't
y es
know the
verdad pues
interest
que
this
se tiene que
had, and
dedicar
we are not
principalmente
having
en
enough
lo
money
que es
because the
la
money has to be
medicina pues a
dedicated
factores clínicos pues como
to
el
medicine
Alzheimer, como son
with
el daño
clinical factors
cerebral,
like
¿no? Esto yo lo
Alzheimer's
entendía, pero por
and
otra parte,
brain
dices,
damage.
bueno, ¿y por qué no es
So it
importante
is
estudiar
important. On
qué es
the
lo
other
que nos
side,
hace estar mejor?
why
Y
isn't it
sobre todo un
important to
papel
study
que
what
yo
makes
creo
us
que es
feel
muy
better?
importante
And
de la
importantly,
meditación, es que tiene un
an
papel
important role
preventivo. Aquí me
of
ayudó
meditation
muchísimo un
is
estudio que se
the
había
preventive
publicado, ¿no? Donde
role.
se veía que las
Some
personas que
studies
meditaban de
published
forma regular,
saying that
pues el
people who
envejecimiento de su
meditate
cerebro era un
regularly,
poquito más lento. Esto me
the
ayudaba en un
aging of
entorno,
their
¿no? En el que
brain was lower.
estudiábamos
So
la
this helped
influencia, o
me
sea,
in
cómo se
in,
generaba la
in
enfermedad de
the
Alzheimer, las
influence on
enfermedades
how Alzheimer's
neurodegenerativas. Hoy en
disease
día uno de
was
los pilares más
developing
fuertes
and
de la investigación
neurodegenerative
es lo que se llama la medicina
illnesses
preventiva, ¿no?
took
¿Qué
place.
podemos
So that's one of
hacer
the pillars of
para prevenir?
preventive
Eso era un
medicine. So
concepto que ya se tenía en
what
otras
can we do
culturas.
to
El médico
prevent
era
it?
aquel que tenía que
And this is a
mantenerte
concept
sano
that
y si
other
te pagabas
cultures
y te
had.
mantenía sano.
The doctor
Y en
was
cuanto
the
enfermabas,
one
dejabas
keeping
de
you
pagar y pues mira,
healthy.
pues ahora me curas, ¿no?
If you
Y
ate,
en
you
nosotros
were
aquí pues
healthy.
tenemos una medicina
If
más
you
curativa.
paid,
Vamos
you
al
were
médico
healthy.
o
If
nos
you stopped
acordamos de
paying, you're
nuestro
not
propio
healthy
cuerpo
anymore. So
cuando estamos enfermos,
we
cuando
take
el
care of our
cuerpo
bodies
se
when we're
enfada,
sick,
se queja, ¿no? Y yo creo que esto es
when
una
the
mentalidad que
body
hay que cambiar.
complains.
Tenemos que
So I
cuidar
believe
al
this is the
cuerpo,
mindset that we have to
mantenerlo
change.
para que
We have
esté
to take
bien,
care
¿no?
of the
Es más
body
en estilo de vida
to maintain
al
it so it is
mantenimiento.
okay. It is
Entonces, pues
the
queríamos
lifestyle
estudiar
of maintenance.
qué pasaba en el cerebro de los
What we wanted to
meditadores. En
study
principio,
was
pues la universidad
what
nos miró
happened
así con
in
un
the brains
cierto
of
aire de
those who
sospecha, ¿no?
meditate.
¿Por qué es eso
So
interesante?
we,
Pero bueno,
we were
afortunadamente el que había sido
suspecting
mi
what
jefe,
is
el
that.
profesor Fernando Maestro, que
Fortunately,
es una de las
who
grandes
was
eminencias
my
mundiales
boss,
en
the
Alzheimer,
professor,
es una persona
one of
también de una
the
mentalidad
world's
muy
eminences
abierta, muy
in
curiosa,
Alzheimer's,
que no
someone
se
with
cerró
an open
a
mind,
aquello. Pues habíamos trabajado
was
juntos muchos
open-minded. He
años,
didn't
habíamos viajado
close to
muchas
this,
veces
and we were
a
working,
Estados Unidos, habíamos compartido
and we traveled
muchas horas,
to the
pero sobre
U.S.
todo
and we
destaco,
have
¿no?
shared
La importancia de que
many
las
hours,
personas, ¿no? que
but
se dedican, en este caso,
I
a la
highlight the
investigación
importance of
sigan
people
manteniendo
doing
esa curiosidad
research
despierta
to
y esa mente
research,
abierta.
to keep
Entonces
that open
Fernando
mind.
pues,
So
nos ayudó y pues,
Fernando,
juntos
my
pudimos
colleague, he
empezar a
helped me,
medir a
and
personas
together we
que
started to
practicaban
measure
la meditación de
people
forma regular. Entonces
who
hicimos un
meditated
llamamiento, se apuntaron
regularly. So we had
muchísimas
many
personas,
people, and
medimos a algunos de ellos que
some of
venían
them,
al laboratorio, les
some of
preguntamos todo
them
acerca de su
came to the
vida, porque lo que
laboratory, and
queríamos
we
ver es la
knew
influencia del
everything
estilo de
about their
vida
lives. So
sobre
we
el
asked them
cuerpo, entonces le preguntábamos todo, desde cómo duermes,
about their
qué comes,
bodies,
cómo es tu
everything,
actitud, cómo son tus
what they
emociones, cómo
eat,
te relacionas
what's
con
your
tu propio
attitude,
cuerpo,
how
todo,
do you relate
una
to your
barbaridad
own
de
body.
cosas muy
It
pacientes
was a
nuestros
series of
voluntarios y luego
things.
ya pues
Our
se
volunteers
les
were
metía en la
very
máquina
patient, and then
y allí lo que hacíamos era medir
we
la
had
actividad del
this
cerebro,
machine.
el movimiento de los
We
ojos,
measured the
la
activity of
actividad
the
del
brain
corazón,
with the
la
movement of the
respiración por
eyes
ambas
and the activity
narinas,
of
la
the
actividad del
heart,
estómago, la actividad del
breathing
intestino,
through
todo
both
simultáneamente.
nostrils, intestine,
Esto en aquel
stomach,
momento pues
everything at the same
era
time.
algo muy
Back
complicado
then,
porque
it
una
was
máquina de
something
neurociencia,
that was
de neuroimagen no
complicated
está
because
preparada para medir el cuerpo, porque hasta
the
hace muy poco
neuroscience
la
machine was
neurociencia no
not
importaba
made
otra
for the
cosa que
study
no
of the
fuera el
whole body.
cerebro.
That machine
Entonces la
was not
máquina estaba preparada para medir
just for
solo un
that.
cerebro. Y ahí,
So
pues bueno,
it was
intervinieron
just to
pues
prepare
grandes
it was just
amigos
prepared
y
to measure the brain,
colaboradores,
and then
trabajadores del
we had
laboratorio,
great
ingenieros y
friends and
físicos que nos
colleagues,
ayudaron
engineers
y
at
entre
the
todos
laboratory,
diseñamos
physicians,
un
and all of
sistema
them
con cables que
with
tenían que
whom
salir por
we
debajo del
designed this
suelo. La
wiring
verdad que
system coming
removimos un
underground,
montón, ¿no? Para
and
poder
we
adaptar la
adjusted
máquina y medir
the
lo que estaba
machine
pasando en todo
to
el cuerpo.
measure
Y entonces
what
ahí, pues
was
yo lo que
happening in the
destacaría a lo largo
entire body.
de
So
mi carrera, y lo digo de
over
todo
there,
corazón, es
I would
que pues,
highlight that
siempre ha habido
throughout my career, and I
un
say it
sentimiento muy amigable
my heart
en el
that
laboratorio. Las
there's
personas con
always
las
been
que
this
yo he trabajado
friendly
en su
feeling
mayoría
at
pues,
the
han sido
laboratory
personas
with
siempre
people I worked
muy
with.
dispuestas, ¿no? Entonces
Mostly
ahí
they
teníamos
have
a
been people
diferentes
who are willing
ingenieros
to
diseñando
help, and we have
dispositivos
different
completamente nuevos
engineers
para que
designing
nosotros pudiéramos
these
medir la
devices that
actividad
are completely
del
new,
cerebro
so
y
we
del
could
cuerpo a la
measure
vez.
the
¿Y
activity
por qué
of
es
the
esto
brain
importante? Bueno, pues
and the
porque
body at the same
afortunadamente
time.
pues hoy ya
Why is this so
reconocemos que no
important?
solo el
Well,
cerebro, el
because
cerebro
fortunately
integra
today we
todo lo que está
recognize that it not
sucediendo en
only
nuestro
integrates
cuerpo, pero él
everything
solo no
that has
podría
to do with
ejecutar, no podría dar
our
lugar
body,
a la
but
experiencia
it
tal y
wouldn't
como la
execute
vivimos. El
for
cerebro
having
necesita
the
saber lo que está
brain.
pasando en mi corazón.
The
Una vez que
brain
mi
needs
corazón
to
emite
know
un
what's going
pulso,
on
un
in my
latido
heart.
cardíaco, pues
Once
las
there's a
neuronas de ciertas
heartbeat
partes
in
del
my
cerebro
heart,
se alinean.
and then the
Lo mismo
neurons in the
sucede con la
brain
respiración. La respiración, por
are
ejemplo,
aligned, and
ya
the
se
same thing
sabía en
happens
otras
with the
culturas la
breathing.
importancia que
Some
tenía
cultures is
sobre
something
los
that was
estados
known about
atencionales. Pues
importance
hoy sabemos
on
desde
this
la neuroanatomía
attentional
que la
states.
respiración influye en la
We know from
atención, en la
neuroanatomy nowadays
memoria,
that
en la
it has to
capacidad
do with
de
attention,
expresión de
memory,
nuestras
the
emociones,
capability
el
of
intestino y el
expression of our
estómago,
feelings,
tremendamente
and
importantes porque sabemos que
in the
influyen en la
intestine
capacidad
and
de
the stomach,
aprendizaje
which are very
y que
important
es un gran
because they
regulador
have
del
the
estado de ánimo. Es muy
capability of
importante, por
learning, and
ejemplo,
it's a
el ser
regulator of the
consciente de lo que
mood,
comemos,
and it is
el
very
ejercicio
important.
físico, ¿no? Porque todo eso
We have to be
influye en
aware
lo
of
que
what
está
we eat,
pasando en nuestro intestino, en
exercise.
nuestro estómago
All
y
of
en el
that
cuerpo en general.
influences
¿Y por
in
qué
what
es
happens in our
importante estudiar,
stomach
por qué
and
era
the
para mí
body
importante estudiar
in
la
general.
neurociencia
And why is it so
de la
important to
meditación?
study, or why
Pues aquello,
was
el
it so
inicio de
important
ese
for me to
proyecto
study the
coincidió
neuroscience of
con mi
meditation? Well,
maternidad.
at the beginning
Yo
of this
estaba pues
project
plenamente
happened to
embarazada
coincide
cuando
with my
empezábamos a hacer los
motherhood, and
experimentos
I was
y la
pregnant
niña había nacido, ¿no? Cuando
when we
ya
were
pues
beginning with
empezamos
the
a medir
experiments. My
a las
daughter was
primeras
born when
personas.
we
Y yo creo
started
que
to
cuando eres
measure
mamá
the
te
first
das
people.
cuenta, ¿no?
So
De lo
I
difícil
believe
que es
when you're a
estar con
mother,
uno mismo,
you
lo
learn
difícil que
how
es
how
estar
difficult it is to be with
contigo, con una
yourself,
misma,
to
reconocer
recognize your own
tus propios
thoughts,
pensamientos,
to recognize
observarte a ti
yourself,
misma, pues yo me
and
daba cuenta
to
de cómo
observe
pues
yourself.
salían conductas que salían demasiado
And I
rápido,
realized
que
that
ya eran
I
tarde
had
cuando
these
me daba
behaviors
cuenta de
that were
ellas,
prompt,
gestionar el
and I
cansancio,
had to
gestionar el
manage.
estrés, ¿no?
It was too
Porque eres
late to
mamá, pero
manage
además tienes que
stress
trabajar, quieres seguir trabajando
because you're
porque
a
te
mother.
gusta lo que
But aside
hace, pues
from
todo
that, you have
eso, pues
to
claro,
work and you have to continue
para el
because you
cuerpo es mucha
like what you do.
exigencia, ¿no? Entonces, observar,
And
dedicar esos
it is a
tiempos en los que
huge
uno pues,
demand
se
to the body.
sienta
And
y te observas
to
a ti
observing those
misma, en
topics
este
where you
caso
sit down and
intentas
you observe
conocer
yourself,
la
and you
naturaleza
try in
de
this
tu propia mente,
at this
porque yo
moment
creo que
to
solo
understand the
observándola
nature
podemos
of your own
conocerla y
mind.
así podemos
And it is just observing.
moldearla.
We have to
Entonces la
know it.
meditación para mí
And we
pues había
know
sido
that
una aliada.
molding it,
Y lo que observamos en el
meditation to
laboratorio
me
y lo que
was
ya nos decían otros artículos científicos es
analyzed.
que cuando empezamos a
That is
meditar,
what we did at the
pues se
laboratory. And
favorece
what
una
happens
estructura
with
cerebral que es la
science is
corteza
that
frontal, ¿no?
there's
Que tenemos en la
the
parte
role
delante.
structure
Se
that's
conoce como el
stimulated, the
cuartel
frontal
general del
cortex that
cerebro,
we
es
have in
una
the
de
front
las
of
áreas
the
más
brain.
importantes
It
para
is
la
the
gestión de
headquarters
mi
of the
propia
brain. That's one
conducta.
of
Pues cuando
the most
meditamos,
important areas for the
aproximadamente una
behavior. So
media hora al
if
día, esta
when
zona
we meditate
aumenta. A los
half an
2
hour a
meses de
day,
empezar a meditar de forma
this area
regular, se observa un
increases, and after 2
crecimiento de esta
months,
zona del
if we
cerebro.
meditate
Pero
regularly,
no solo eso,
this
sino
increase, this
también hay un
growth in this
crecimiento
area
en una zona
happens.
del
But not only
cerebro que se
that,
llama la
there's also
ínsula, que
this
está por
little
aquí,
area of the
que
brain
es
that's called
tremendamente
insula. This
importante
is the
cuando
part of the
tenemos un
brain
bebé.
which is
Es
very
una de las
important when we
zonas que
have a
más se
baby.
activa cuando yo me
This is
comunico
one of
con
the
mi hija, ¿no?
areas
Es una de las
activating when
zonas
I
en las
communicate
que
with
está
my
más
daughter.
involucrada en la idea de
That
quién
is
soy yo,
one of
en
the
la idea de
areas
qué
that's
postura
involved
mantengo, en el
with the
sentido
idea of who
materno.
I
Está
am,
involucrada en
and
esa
in the
percepción, en la
motherhood part.
comunicación que se
What's the
produce entre
perception that I
cerebros entre
have?
una
The
madre y una hija.
communication
Yo
between the
sabía que
mother
practicando la
and the
meditación,
daughter.
la parte anterior de la
So I
ínsula se
knew
iba a
that
favorecer
practicing
y
meditation,
esperaba y
the
espero que
insula
eso me
part was
haya
going to
ayudado
develop in
a
my
ser
brain,
mamá,
and
a ser mejor mamá.
that
Y
this
con eso yo
helped
creo que
me
para
to
mí
be a better mother.
mi
So, to
experiencia
me,
en la
I believe
investigación, pues como cualquier
my
trabajo, yo creo que
experience in
tiene que ir
research,
muy unido
like
a
any
lo
other job, I
personal.
believe is
Tiene que ir muy
close
unido
to
a
the
la
personal
pregunta
part.
de qué puedo
So it
aprender
is
yo y sobre
linked
todo
to
yo creo que
the part of
la pregunta
what
más
can I
importante, qué es
learn
lo que a mí me hace
from this
ser y estar
and
mejor. Y
what
para mí, pues
makes
la
me
neurociencia de
be
la meditación, al menos a
better.
nivel personal, creo
So
que me ha
meditation has
ayudado
helped
mucho
me a lot
a
to
entender
understand a
un
little
poquito
bit
más, y seguimos ahí
the
en ello,
nature
pues la naturaleza de la mente y
of
la
the brain
naturaleza de la mente de
and the
mamá,
nature
sobre todo.
of a mother's
Bueno,
brain.
muchísimas
Thank you very
gracias,
much.
Nazaret,
Well, thank you very
por tu
much, Nazaret,
experiencia y por lo que nos has
for your
contado.
experience and what
Como
you have
parte del
told us.
foro,
As part of this
también
forum,
se incluye que yo cuente un poquito de
also,
mi
it is
experiencia y
included
cómo
for
he
me
llegado
to tell
aquí.
you about my
En mi caso,
experience
yo
and
soy
how
de
I am
carrera
here. In my case, I
informática,
am from
de las de
the
STEM, ¿verdad? Entonces yo estudié informática y en ese tiempo, porque
STEAM
yo estudié
careers.
desde la época de las
A
tarjetas
technology engineer.
perforadas,
I
¿verdad?
studied
Entonces, como
since the
podrán
age
entender, ha
of
sido un largo
perforated
camino
cards, so
recorrido.
you can
He
understand that
llegado a
it's been a
alcanzar
long
posiciones
journey.
de liderazgo bastante
I
altas
had
y
high
en el tema
positions of
de
leadership
ese
in
área
my
de
life,
carrera
and
es bastante
in
duro e
this
intenso,
topic of the
¿verdad?
career,
Entonces,
it's
desde el
very hard and
inicio
it's intense since
me fui dando cuenta que era
the beginning.
necesario
I realized that it
hacer
was
algo, ¿verdad? Como
necessary
todos
to do
ustedes, aquí hay que ir
something,
haciendo
like
algo. No fue
all
ninguna
of you.
enfermedad
We
ni
had to
nada,
do
pero
something,
sí
and
había
it was not
que
an illness
ayudarse
or
un
anything,
poco,
but
¿verdad? Para poder
we had
ir
to
caminando ese
help
camino.
ourselves.
Entonces,
So
empecé con la
I started
meditación hace unos 30 años. Tengo un
with
grupo de
meditation
desarrollo
30 years
espiritual
ago.
en
I
el que
have a
todavía
group
nos
of
reunimos y nos
spiritual
educamos en ese
development.
tema y, por
We
supuesto, en
still meet
meditación.
nowadays, and we educate
Alrededor
ourselves in
de ese
this
grupo
meditation
tuve
topic.
oportunidades
And
muy importantes como de
around
volverme
this group,
terapeuta
I had
floral, que es un
important
hobby, me encantan
things
y he trabajado mucho las
like
flores, las
becoming a
esencias
floral
de
therapist. I love
gemas,
it.
de animales, de
Flowers,
diferentes
essences,
áreas y
animals,
son
gems,
muy
and
efectivas.
different
También después conocí lo que fue la
areas, and
aromaterapia
it is
y
effective.
también
And
súper
I learned
efectiva, súper recomendada y
which
me fui
is
a
super
entrenar, me
effective. I
ayuda y a
recommend it.
entender, porque realmente cuando entro en
I
algo
went
me
to
gusta
Utah to train
profundizarlo, he usado
myself.
otras como
When I like
bioresonancia
something, I want to
y
get
una
in
una
depth
técnica
into
que es
that
HeartMath para
topic.
respiración, que
And I
esa me ayudó mucho
studied
en temas
Dharma
difíciles,
for
retadores de
breathing,
la
which
oficina.
helped me
Entonces,
in
un
challenging
poco,
moments in the office.
ese ha sido, sí tengo
So
experiencia, ¿verdad? Como en la práctica, ¿verdad? De
I
cómo llegué ahí.
had
Y
the
después
experience
o la
in
más
practice on
importante,
how
o de las
I
más
got
importantes, porque
there.
en realidad
And the most
creo que la
important, or
meditación
one of
es
the
la
most
más
important
importante,
ones,
¿verdad? Ir hacia
actually,
hacia adentro y querer
meditation
servir
is
a
the most
otros. Pero
important one.
el tema de servir a otros, que
To
es común
find
para
what you
todos
need
nosotros,
from within
es, yo
for your
encontré
life
a
and
ALAS.
serving others, which
ALAS
is
es la
very common.
Asociación para el Liderazgo y Ascenso
I found
Social.
ALAS.
Tengo
ALAS is
alrededor
the
de 10 años o más
Association for
trabajando con ALAS,
Leadership and
ayudando
Social
mujeres.
Promotion for
ALAS
the
es una
last
asociación que
10 years
empezó
or more. I've been
queriendo
working with
ayudar a las
ALAS,
mujeres,
helping
pero se
women.
empezó a analizar
This
cuál
is
era
an
la necesidad que las
association
mujeres tenían,
helping
lo
women
cual
beginning
nos llevó a entender
what was
el
the
tema de
need women had,
empoderamiento,
which
de
took
creérsela a
us
uno
to
mismo, de tu
understand
palabra es
empowerment
tu
topics,
poder, una
to
serie de
believe in
cosas
yourself,
que realmente
that
son las
your
que
power is
también ayudaron
your word
muchísimo
is
a
your
llegar a
power,
donde
and
estoy.
those things
Entonces eso es un
that
poquito como para
helped me a
contarles
lot
qué he
to
hecho
get where I
también
am.
en esas
So that's a
áreas.
little bit
Y muy
about
contenta de poder
myself,
ayudar a otros y de
what I've
servir y
done
a
in these
mujeres
areas, and
también,
I'm
nos
very
gusta
happy
mucho.
to help
Ahora
and
yo
to serve
tengo unas
women and men.
preguntitas que me gustaría
I like it very
hacerles,
much. I have some
entendiendo el camino
questions I would
que
like to
todos han
ask you,
recorrido,
understanding
que
the
en muchos
journey
casos
each one of
conlleva
you had
crisis grandes, ¿verdad?
taken.
Que lo hacen a uno
In many
cambiar,
cases,
enfermedades
it
serias.
takes
En la
huge
época que esas
crises,
cosas les
serious
pasaron, y
illnesses.
esta pregunta más que todo va para
At that
Alexandra y para
moment,
Marieta.
and this is for
Yo cuando
Alexandra
empecé
and
a querer
Marieta in
obtener,
particular.
comprar las
When I
terapias
began to
alternativas, como las
wanting
terapias,
to
es decir, esencias
bring
florales y todo eso,
floral
en este país era
essences
bastante difícil,
and all
¿verdad?
that, this country,
Introducirlas,
to get it
todo, y
into this
aún
country,
ahora,
it
y
was
ahora
very
pues yo estoy
difficult
muy contenta que
to
uno puede ver
get
en
them
muchas
here
farmacias
in
muchas de
Costa
ellas,
Rica.
¿verdad? Pero eso no
Nowadays,
fue
it's
así
easier. I'm
en
very
un
happy to
principio. Si
see
estamos
many of them
hablando de
in
unos 20
pharmacies,
años o
but
más
it was
atrás,
not like that at the
a mí me
beginning,
gustaría que ustedes
years
dos
ago or more.
nos contaran cuáles han
So
sido los
I would like you to
retos para poder, porque primero
to
fueron
tell
muy
us what are the
valientes.
challenges
Cuando uno
that you had
empieza
to
una terapia
overcome, because
alternativa y dice,
first
no,
of
yo
all, you
creo en
were
esto
very
y
brave
esto me va a
when
ayudar a
starting
salir adelante, y en el
el caso de Alexandra con la hija y en el caso tuyo de vos misma, ¿verdad? Entonces, yo sí quiero que con la experiencia que ustedes tuvieron nos cuenten un poquito esos retos y cómo los superaron, cómo salieron adelante. Tal vez si empezamos con Marieta y ahora continuamos con Alexandra, ¿cómo fueron esos retos alrededor de la gente? Porque uno puede convencerse uno mismo, pero a los demás, ¿cómo hago yo?
Bueno, yo creo que el mayor reto que yo tuve fue la
I believe
preocupación de mi
the
familia
greatest
directa.
challenge that I had was the
Era una
concern
enfermedad
for
que no se
my
conocía mucho,
direct
hace
family.
33
It
años
was an
era
illness that
algo que nadie
we
sabía muy
didn't
bien
know
qué
much
era.
33 years ago.
El
That was
doctor Prado
something
Cubero
nobody
además
knew
da una
much.
noticia muy alarmante. Yo
Dr.
tengo
Prado
un
Cubero
cuñado que es
gives
médico y
me
ellos
this alarming news.
él
I have
organiza mi
a
familia
brother-in-law
como
who's a
casi
doctor,
para
and
repartirse a
he
mi hijo y
organized my
quién se va a
family
ir a vivir conmigo o
to say
dónde
who's
voy a ir
going
a
to take care
vivir
of my
para
son
poder cuidarme.
and
Creo que
who's
ese es
going
el
to live with
primer
me
reto.
or
El
where am I
primer
going to
reto
live
fue, a pesar
to
de
be
la
taken
condición
care
en la
of.
que
That's the
estaba,
first challenge. The first challenge,
lograr hacer
despite
que
my
mi
condition,
familia
La apoyara.
to make my
comprendiera, porque
family
ellos son de un apoyo
to support
incondicional
you,
hasta el día de hoy, pero es
to understand, because
comprender que yo
they
podía
were
hacer algo
supportive
diferente,
until today
además que ellos no
unconditionally, but to
entendían y
understand
que
that I
yo
could do
misma no
something
entendía.
different
Creo que ese fue el
aside
primer
from
reto.
that.
El segundo reto
They
que me
didn't
parece
understand. I didn't even
fundamental
understand what was
fue
going on.
dedicarme a
So
esto
the second
y que
one was
los
fundamental
otros
to dedicate myself
entendieran
to
que esto
this
también era una
and
profesión. Porque
to
al
make others
principio, hace
understand that this
33,
was also a
34 años,
profession.
de
Because
todo se dijo de
at the
mí,
beginning,
desde que era una
33,
bruja,
34 years ago,
cosa que
they
no me
said
molesta,
everything about me, that I was a
hasta
witch,
una chamana,
I
cosas
don't care about that,
particulares. Había y
that
se
I was a
veía con
shaman,
mucha
particular
oscuridad y
things.
prejuicio lo que yo hacía.
They saw this as darkness and
3,
prejudice
encontrar
behind this
y
into what I was
diferenciarme
doing,
de
and
personas que hacen
to find in
esto,
myself and to
porque
make myself
todavía
different from
sigue siendo
people
así,
doing this.
Sandra. Las
Because it's
formaciones de
still
esto
like
tienen
that,
niveles.
Sandra.
Y hay
The
desde formaciones
trainings for
que
this have
obtenés
different
en
levels.
2 horas
We have training
hasta trabajos
that you
terapéuticos
get in
como la
2
terapia
hours
floral que yo duré
till
años
therapeutic
formándome.
works like floral
Entonces,
therapy for
encontrar la
years, that I took
diferenciación de esto
years training myself. So
y cuáles
finding
son los que
the
verdaderamente
difference
son serios
of
y te
this
permiten trabajar, creo que
and
ese fue uno de los
which are
retos.
the serious
El
ones,
cuarto
allowing you to
reto
work, and that was one of
Sí,
the
¿cuáles son serios,
challenges.
verdad? Porque también
The
hay que
fourth
diferenciar.
Hay que
challenge,
diferenciar, pero además
and
el
which
ritmo y la
ones are the serious
frecuencia,
one, right?
La
Yes, we
disciplina.
have to make a difference, but
sostenerte
the rhythm and frequency,
estudiando,
discipline, right?
trabajando.
Yes.
Hoy por hoy,
To support yourself,
dichosamente, tengo muchos
studying,
pacientes
working
médicos, inclusive sin
nowadays.
problema,
Luckily, I
pero
have
eso ha
many doctors
requerido
who are
de
patients
mucho
without any
estudio
problems,
independiente,
but
sin
that
nadie
had
más,
required
estudiar
a
física
lot of
cuántica,
independent
estudiar
studying without anybody else, to
física
study in quantum
electrónica,
physics, to
estudiar
study
anatomía, cosas
electronics,
que
to
creías que no
studying
tenías que
anatomy,
estudiar y
those
ver cómo
things
eso
that
además
you
ha ido
thought you didn't
impactando
have
en
to
el
study,
mundo y
and to
además
see
adaptar
how
aquellos
that impacted the
conocimientos que
world
primero
and
eran hierbas,
adapting yourself
masajes,
to
toques,
this
pases
knowledge
energéticos
that at the
y hoy
beginning was
son
herbs, massages,
bioresonancia,
touches, energy, and pulses,
frecuencia,
and now we
lectura
have
electromagnética
bioresonance,
y seguir
frequency,
estudiando, porque hoy
electromagnetic readings,
epigenética,
and to
programación
continue studying
neurolingüística,
because, well, neurolinguistic programming,
imanes, un montón de técnicas que hoy requieren
magnets,
estudio
many
para que tengan
techniques
seriedad
that
porque
today
seguimos
they
teniendo el
require
mismo tema.
study. So they're serious
Entonces,
because
abrir tu mente y
we
la
are on the same page on
plasticidad
this.
cerebral que se
So to
requiere
open your mind
para
and this
poder
brain
estar
plasticity
cambiando de
that
manera
is
continua
required to
y entregarte a la
continuously change
incertidumbre como oportunidad y no como
into
problema,
taking
creo que
uncertainty
esos
as the
han sido los
opportunity and
retos
not as a problem.
personales. Hacia
I
afuera,
believe
creo que los
those
retos
have
son de
been
otro tipo.
personal
Creo
challenges
que son la
to the outside.
credibilidad, el hacer una carrera, el
They're
tener
different,
buenos
which is credibility,
resultados y
creating your
sobre todo
career,
que
and to
la
have good
gente
results.
confíe.
And above all,
credibilidad y confianza.
people
¿Por qué?
trusting
Porque creo
you
mucho en lo que Sandra
and
decía.
credibility and
La-
trust. Why?
los
Because I
pacientes
believe
que
in
llegan
what
donde uno,
Alexandra said.
Sandra, son
Patients
pacientes
coming to
que están
you,
cansados
Sandra, they are
o que ya se quedaron
tired,
sin opciones
or
dentro de la medicina
they run out of
alopática y
options
llegan y la
within the
mayoría te dicen,
allopathic
yo no
medicine,
creo en
and
esto,
most
pero
of them
quiero
say,
ver qué puede
I
hacer
don't
usted
believe
por
in
mí.
this,
Claro.
Entonces, creo que
I would
esos
like
retos
to
han sido
see
muy
what you
interesantes.
can
Excelente.
do for me.
Ahora, Alexandra, por favor,
Those
contanos,
challenges have
porque
been
vos
very
cuando
interesting.
empezaste a hablar de tu
Now,
hija, yo me
Alexandra,
imagino
please
cómo se
tell
puede
us,
sentir uno, ¿verdad?
when you began talking
Y
about your
cómo
daughter, I can
convenzo
only
a mi
imagine
familia
how
de que
you
voy
can
a seguir
feel.
por otro camino.
And
No
how do I
es solo
convince
que
my
le voy a dar la
family
medicina que yo
that
quiero o no se la
I'm
voy a dar, en este caso. Sí me
taking this
gustaría un
way?
poco
It's not like I'm
nos
not giving her
contaras de
this
esos
medicine,
retos, porque
but
eso
I would
a
like you
muchas
to
personas, inclusive en
tell us
estos tiempos,
about
le puede
those
estar pasando
challenges,
decisiones que tienen
because
que
many
tomar, ¿verdad?
people
Entonces, por favor.
forced to take and not
Claro que
away.
sí, me
So
encantaría gustaría compartir
Yes, please.
y tengo, digamos, experiencias
Yes, thank you very
similares
much. I
a
would
las
like
que
to
tuvo
share.
Marieta y lo voy a
I
dividir
have
en
similar
la parte
experiences
personal y
than
luego en la
Marieta
parte
had.
externa. En
I'm
la
going to
parte
divide that
personal, tal vez el
in
primer
the
reto mío
personal
fue esa
side and the
transición de
external one.
venir de un
And the
enfoque
personal
conservador, de un
side
abuelo
was this
farmacéutico y de un
transition to coming
pediatra
from the
totalmente
conservative
alopático
focus
a
with
pasar
the
a
grandfather
un
with pharmacy
médico, eran dos
and the
médicos,
allopathic
una doctora y un
experience
doctor,
to
pero
getting
que
into
todo lo trataban con
two.
homeopatía, con
It was a doctor,
nutrición,
a
con
female
cambio de
doctor
vida.
and a
Entonces,
male
primero,
doctor,
confiar y comenzar a
thinking
estudiar. Estudié
homeopathy and
3 años
nutrition.
homeopatía, me metí en
And
la
first of
materia
all, to
médica, me metí
trust.
en una
I
serie de
studied 3
aspectos
years
para
homeopathy.
entender
I
el
got into
proceso,
aspects to
primero yo.
understand the
Una vez que
process,
estaba
to
convencida,
first
tal vez yo
understand.
no era que estaba tratando de convencer a los otros. Yo
Once I
creo
was
que lo más
convinced,
importante en mi
it
caso,
was
por lo
not
menos,
like I
fue
was
estar yo
trying to convince
absolutamente
others, but the
convencida
most
que ese
important
era el
part
camino
for
y
me was,
comenzar a ver
in
resultados.
my case, to
De
be
hecho, comencé
completely
con mi hija,
convinced that
pero en
it
aquel
was the
momento
way
mi
and to
esposo
begin to
también
see results. And I
padecía de
started
las
with my
glándulas
daughter
una vez al
back
mes y
then.
tenía que
My husband as
inyectarse
well.
el
He
Lincocin 600,
suffered
me
from his
acuerdo, era el
tonsils
antibiótico de ese
once a
momento,
month, and he
y
had to
comenzar toda
inject
la
himself
familia a hacer los
Lincocin
cambios y
600. That
comenzar
was
a
the
ver los
antibiotic back
efectos
then.
en toda la familia,
And
al punto que mi hija,
to have the
hoy
changes and
ya
to
es una
see the
mujer,
effects in
madre
the family
inclusive,
to the
me
point
dice,
that
es
my
que para mí el
daughter,
trauma
she's
fue
a
cuando yo
mother
llegué a la
now,
casa a
she's an
comerme mis
adult, and she
galletitas de
says,
chocolate
my
con mi
trauma
chocolate y
was
la leche
when
y de repente lo
getting
que me
home
encontré fue un
to
jugo
get my
natural
chocolate milk
y
and
unas
my
galletas
chocolate chip cookies.
macrobióticas,
I
¿verdad?
had
O
something
sea, hubo
natural
que
to
hacer
drink
un cambio
and
en la
microbiotic
familia
cookies.
de lo que se
You know,
comía, de cómo se
there was
tomaban
a
las
change in the
cosas, de
family
quitar la
on
comida
what we
chatarra,
ate, on how
¿verdad?
things were
Eso fue quizás
drank
en
to
ese
get rid
momento
of
lo más
junk food.
difícil.
So
Y por supuesto mi
that
familia
was the
inmediata, mis
most
padres y
difficult
mis
thing,
hermanos,
I believe, in my
que no
immediate
entendían,
family, my parents, my
¿verdad? Lo
siblings,
que estaba pasando.
who
Pero ahí
didn't
sí yo
understand
sentí
what was
una
going on.
fuerza interna muy
But
grande
from
al ver
there,
los
I felt
resultados y a sentir que
a
iba por el camino
huge internal
correcto.
force, seeing the results
Y
and
fue
seeing
difícil. Y
that I
el
was
reto
on the right
externo
way.
fue un poco
And
esto que contaba Marieta, de
my
que
external
todo el mundo
challenge,
decía, Alexandra se le
just like
zafó un tornillo,
Marietta was
¿verdad?
saying,
Está
that
loca.
everybody said,
Cuando puse
Alexandra
la
lost it.
clínica de
She's
medicina
crazy, you
alternativa,
know.
una vez recuerdo que
When
hasta
I had this
llegaron
clinic for alternative
un
medicine,
noticiero
I
a decir
remember
que en
the
esa
news
casa
crew
enseñábamos
came
yoga. Claro, este se convirtió en un
saying
centro
that in
holístico,
this
entonces
house we were
enseñábamos
teaching yoga,
sanación pránica,
but it
vimos el
was a
capítulo
holistic
aquí,
center.
enseñábamos
So we
Reiki,
taught
terapia de
pranic
la nueva decisión,
healing,
hacíamos
Reiki,
lavados colónicos, hacíamos cursos de
therapy of new
meditación,
decision,
traíamos
lavages,
lamas, traíamos diferentes
meditation.
al doctor
We
Jorge
brought
Carvajal, por
lamas.
ejemplo, todo lo que era la
We
parte
brought different
bioenergética,
experts. Dr.
¿verdad?
Jorge Carvajal
Estábamos
from the
trayendo todo lo de punta de
bioenergy
medicina alternativa
part.
en ese momento en una sociedad
And
que no
we were
entendía lo que
bringing the
estaba
cutting
pasando.
edge
Sin
in medicine
embargo,
in our
teníamos
society
los
who
cupos
didn't
llenos hasta los
understand what
siguientes
was
6
going on.
meses, porque como
However,
decía bien
we were
Marieta,
booked for the
la
next
gente que ya no
6 months because,
encontraba
like
una
Marietta
solución para
said,
su problema
people
crónico,
who didn't
terminaba
find the
ahí
solution
igualmente
for
diciendo,
their chronic
esto, yo
problem
no
ended up
creo en esto,
there
pero
saying,
es lo único que me
okay,
queda por probar.
I don't
A mí
believe
me
in
pasó,
this,
por ejemplo,
but
enseñando
this is the only
meditación
thing
por
that I
muchos
have to
años. Yo
try.
ahora le enseño, pero y
Something that
enseño
happened to
Qigong
me
también
studying
una
while
vez por
teaching
semana, pero
meditation. I
digamos ya
teach
no es yo lo practico
Qigong
y
as
mi
well
familia lo
once a
hace,
week, but it
pero yo
is
en
not
esa
the
época que estaba en
same
Prana
as
enseñaba cursos de
before.
meditación todas las semanas y
But
tenía
when
muchos
I was in
estudiantes que me
Prana,
mandaban
I taught
médicos por
meditation
problemas de
courses
estrés
every week,
y me
and I
pasaba que,
had
por ejemplo,
several
un año
students sending me
después
to
volvía un
doctors
alumno a un curso
with
y
stress
me decía,
issues,
es que
and a
nunca me he
year
sentido
after,
mejor con la
a student
meditación.
came
Y de ahí
back
cuando
from
me
the
sentí
course
bien la dejé y
saying,
yo decía,
I
pero
have
¿cuál es
never
la
felt
lógica,
better
verdad?
than with
Y
meditation.
había muchos
When
paradigmas y
I felt
muchos
better, I
miedos.
stopped it.
Entonces,
And then I
yo
said, what's
creo
the logic
que
behind
uno
that? There
enseña
were
con el ejemplo.
paradigms and things, and
Imponerse
I
no
believe
funciona, uno no puede
you
imponerle a
teach with
nadie nada.
example. Imposing yourself
Desde mi
doesn't
perspectiva,
work.
yo solo puedo
I
ser el
cannot
cambio que
impose
quiero ver en
anything
el
to
mundo.
anybody.
Y cuando
I
uno
can
hace,
only
yo
make
nunca
the change I
recomendé
want to
nada
see in the
ni de
world.
ninguna terapéutica que yo no probara
I never
primero y
recommended
que probara los
anything, and
resultados.
I never
Entonces,
said
eso me da una
I
fuerza
have
para
this
poder recomendar y
therapeutic that I
decir,
didn't try
esto no me
myself
lo leí en
first.
un
So
libro,
that
esto
gives
no me lo
me the
contaron, esto
strength
lo he
to
vivido
recommend
y he
and say,
vivido estas
I
transformación y
didn't
estos
read
cambios.
this from a book.
Y
They didn't
puede
tell me
saber
about
uno a
this. I
través de la
have done it, and
experiencia de
I
lo que está
have seen
hablando.
it.
Por supuesto que esa experiencia además es muy
And through
importante
experience, you know what you're
acompañarla de
saying.
estudio y de
So this
conocimiento
experience is very
y que
important to
nunca se
put it
acaba,
together
porque
with
el cuerpo
study and knowledge.
y
And
la vida
it's a
es un proceso evolutivo. todo el tiempo estamos cambiando, estamos abriéndonos a nuevas experiencias. Imagínense ahora con la pandemia, ¿verdad? Los abordajes de la pandemia también son muy diferentes, dependiendo de las creencias, de los valores. Pero digamos que para sintetizar para mí lo más importante fue comprender que la salud es una responsabilidad personal. Claro que podemos nacer con condiciones más adversas unos que otros, pero esas condiciones adversas hasta las podemos convertir en oportunidades para mejorar la salud y para mejorar la calidad de vida. Cuando hablo de salud, hablo de una calidad de vida donde yo pueda tener, me sienta plena y tenga felicidad y sienta que estoy desarrollando el potencial. Eso, gran parte de responsabilidad individual, porque si yo como mal, si yo no descanso bien, si yo no hago cosas como la meditación, el qigong, el ejercicio, voy sobrecargando el cuerpo y llega un momento en que el cuerpo me dice hasta aquí. El cuerpo y la mente, un momento en que se saturan. Entonces, entender eso y no pretender ir donde un médico que me dé una pastillita que me cambie, porque además cada pastillita de esas tiene efectos adversos. Y no es que estoy en contra de la medicina. Mis hijos nacieron por cesárea y digo, bueno, cuando lo requiere un proceso y la tecnología como ha avanzado hoy, maravilloso. Pero a mí nunca se me va a olvidar la frase de esta médica homeópata que decía, ¿para qué matar moscas con ametralladoras? Cuando se puede usar un matamoscas, ¿verdad? Y lo mismo es
Why do you kill flies with gun
diferente,
machines when you can use a fly swatter?
¿verdad? Y ahí siempre hay opciones.
So yes, every
En esto
area is
que
different.
contás de la
And there are
meditación y eso
options.
me lleva a que
And
me gustaría escuchar a Karim
what you're telling
en
us
temas
about
de vos
meditation,
das
it
clases
leads
de
me to listen
meditación, ¿verdad?
to
Entonces
Karim.
ya
You
hemos
teach
practicado
meditation,
meditación
right?
muchas
So
y de todo. Uno de los retos más grandes que yo he
we had
encontrado en la
practiced
meditación
meditation
y me
for
imagino
a
lo
long
debes de
time.
tener
One
en
of the
la
biggest challenges
enseñanza
in
de la
meditation that I
meditación
have
es que la
found,
gente
and
tenga
I
disciplina.
believe you
Precisamente Alexandra acaba de decir,
face it,
¿verdad? El
in
paciente
teaching
llegó y le
meditation
dijo,
is for people to
después de
have
un
discipline.
año no
Alexandra
lo
said
volvió a practicar.
after a year, this
Entonces,
patient
que tal vez si
told
nos
her that
puedes
after a
hablar
year
un
he
poco de
stopped it.
eso, como la
So
motivación o los retos que has
if you could
encontrado en
tell
esa
us a little
disciplina
bit
para
about
continuar
that
con
motivation
la
and the
meditación y
challenges in this discipline to
profundizar a diferentes
continuously
niveles que existen, ¿verdad? ¿Verdad, Karin? Si nos
have
puedes
this
contar un poquito.
meditation and to go deeper, right? If you could
Claro, con mucho
share
gusto.
with us a little bit.
Sí, creo que es un
Sure, of
reto
course.
para toda la vida. No
My
importa cuántos
pleasure.
años lleves
I believe
meditando,
it
siempre
is
va
a
a ser un
challenge for
reto
life. It doesn't
sostener
matter
la
how many
práctica y
years you
sostener
have
la
been
práctica es lo
meditating, it's a
esencial,
challenge
porque
to
eso es lo que nos
sustain
va a dar
a practice,
resultados.
and it is essential
Lo que sí es
because
que
that is what
es como
gives
un
us
círculo
results.
virtuoso. Entre
What
más
happens
meditas, más
is
puedes ver con
that it's a
claridad
virtuous
los
circle. The
beneficios de la
more you
meditación.
meditate, you
Más te vas a
have a clearer
motivar a seguir
picture
poniendo tiempo
on
y
the benefits
energía
of
en eso.
meditation.
Y
You're
entre
going to
más
motivate
tiempo y
yourself,
energía pones,
and
pues más resultados
investing
obtienes.
energy and
Y
time in
creo que lo
this,
importante es
as
que la
much
disciplina
time and
venga
energy
desde
you
la
invest in this,
sabiduría.
more
Tal vez al
results you get.
principio
But I
tenemos
believe
que
the
hacer un
discipline has
esfuerzo
to come from
como
wisdom.
más desde la
Maybe at the
voluntad,
beginning we
¿no?
have to
Para
make an
generar
effort
el hábito, para desde la
from
determinación,
will
como de, ok,
to
voy a
generating the
establecer esto en
habit
mi vida. Pero
of
eventualmente se
determination,
vuelve el
establishing
resultado de
this
mi
in my
propio
life. But eventually,
constatar de
it
los
is the
beneficios
result
que me ofrece.
of
Y desde ahí se vuelve un proceso
the
mucho más
benefits
natural. Es como bañarte,
that it
¿no? No
offers, and
necesitas
from there, it's
disciplina para bañarte. Es como
a natural process, like
naturalmente
showering
sientes
yourself. You don't need
necesidad de
discipline to shower
limpiarte,
yourself, right?
de asearte
You
todos los
do
días.
feel
Así
the
empieza a
need
suceder con
to
la mente,
get
¿no?
clean
Empiezas a
and
ver
yourself
que ese
to clean
proceso de
every day. So the same
purificación
thing
te ayuda
happens
a
with
estar
the
más en
meditation.
paz, más feliz, más
Claro.
tranquilo.
That process of
Solito el
purification
corazón te va
makes
a
you
llevar
feel
a
happy and
acoger.
calmer, and
Bueno,
your
excelente
your
toda la
heart will
información
lead you to that.
compartida. Ya para
Excellent,
ir
excellent.
cerrando,
All
me
information that
gustaría
we just
escuchar a
shared.
cada uno
Just to conclude, I
que
would like
nos
to
dieran
listen to each
como
one of you
unos
to
tips
give us
más importantes de
some
cómo, de acuerdo a lo que ustedes
the
han
most
aprendido,
important tips
le
on
podría ayudar a uno,
according to
tanto
what you
en
have
su
learned.
carrera profesional de
It could help
emprendedurismo,
us
en su vida, y
in
también un
our
poco a una mujer
career,
joven o una
in
persona
our
joven
lives,
para que a
and
futuro pueda
also
llegar
young
con
woman,
todas
a young
estas, ¿verdad?
person,
Porque uno si va
so in
avanzado,
the
con más
future they
bendiciones que le
can
digan y más conocimiento, mejor,
use it,
¿verdad?
because
Entonces,
we have learned with
ahorita vamos a
experience that
escuchar a
the more
Marieta, que tal
knowledge you
vez
have, the
iniciamos
better.
con ella.
But now we will
Vas a
listen
tener
to
2
Marieta.
minutos para hacer este cierre
You will have 2 minutes
y
to have
compartir un
this
poco de tu sabiduría
closure
de lo que has aprendido.
statement and to
Muchas
share a
gracias,
little
de
bit
verdad,
about your
Sandra.
wisdom
A mí
and
me
what you have
parece
learned.
que es
Thank you very much, Sandra.
maravillosa la oportunidad
I
que nos
believe
da,
that it is an
que nos da
opportunity,
la
a
web,
wonderful opportunity, what
pero sobre
gives
todo
us,
que nos da la vida
what,
para
what,
poder
what
pasarle
gives us,
a la gente
what
joven
life gives us,
algunas cosas
to
que son
pass along
fundamentales.
this
Para mí,
to
puede
young
ser que
people, some
para otras
fundamental
personas no. Yo
things.
creo que el
For me, it could be that
autoconocimiento es
for other
fundamental.
people or
Creo
not,
que
but
ese proceso
self-knowledge
de
is
autoconocimiento
fundamental. I
siempre es
believe
una
this process
inversión Es una
of
inversión
self-knowledge
que va a
is
dar sus
an
frutos
investment.
eventualmente
It's
y
always an investment,
que nos va a
rendering
hacer
results eventually,
entender cómo podemos adaptarnos con mayor facilidad.
making us understand
Segundo,
how
me
we can
parece
adopt ourselves
que
more easily.
entrar en contacto
Second,
con lo que
I believe that
siento,
getting in
más que
touch
con lo que
with
pienso.
what I feel more
La
than
parte
what I
lógica y
think.
racional controla el 5%
The
de nuestra
logical
vida,
part and
el
rational part controls
95% de nuestra
5%
vida,
of our
sobre
lives.
todo después de
And
los estudios de
95%
Benjamin Libet y
of our
de
lives after the studies from
este otro hombre de
Benjamin
apellido
Libet
Kendall que se me olvidó,
and
que
this
hablan de cómo
man
somos la
Kendall,
repetición de un
I
recuerdo y
forgot
cómo
his
somos un
name.
recuerdo
I
que se
forgot his name,
muestra.
but talking about how
Tener
we're the
contacto con
repetition
esa
of
parte
a
nuestra
memory,
central de lo
connecting
que
to the
nosotros
core,
sentimos,
to that
más que de lo
core
que
part of
pensamos
what
o
we feel,
racionalizamos, es
more than
fundamental
what we
porque comenzamos
rationalize,
a identificar
is
el
essential
sentir,
because we begin
el
to
sentir aquí,
identify
en las
the
vísceras.
feeling,
Y el
the
tercer
feeling here
consejo,
in your
ya
gut.
para despedirme,
And
es
the third
sacar
advice, the third
espacio y
tip, just to say
tiempo
goodbye, is to
con ritmo y
make
frecuencia
time
para meditar,
and space with
para
rhythm and
sentir,
frequency, to
para
meditate,
disfrutar
to
y para
feel,
reconocernos.
to
Creo que eso nos
enjoy,
puede ayudar muchísimo.
and
Muchas
to
gracias.
Mil
recognize.
gracias.
I believe that
Ahora,
can help us a lot.
igual,
Thank you. Excellent.
tenemos
Thank
2
you very much.
minutos,
Now,
Alexandra, para ver si nos
the same.
compartes tus
We have 2
tips
minutes, Alexandra.
de
If you
todo lo que
could
has aprendido, ¿qué
share your tips
recomendarías?
Bueno,
on what you have learned,
repito
what
dos
would you
que ya dijo Marieta, pero
Well,
es que son fundamentales. Yo
let me
les
repeat
recomendaría que se
2 from
enfoquen en un
Marietta,
viaje
but
de
there is
autoexploración y
fundamental. I would
autoconocimiento,
recommend
en
to
donde puedan
focus on
reconocer
the
esa propia
self-exploration,
esencia de su
self-knowledge
liderazgo,
journey,
que
where
sea
you
un
can
liderazgo auténtico,
recognize that essence
¿verdad?
of
Que
your
puedan,
leadership,
que
that
reconozcan
it
ese poder
has to be
interno
an
y
authentic
que
leadership,
reconozcan cuáles son esas
knowing
habilidades
that
y
inner power
aptitudes y qué es lo que les sirve a
and
ustedes para
recognizing
desarrollarse,
those skills
porque meditar es fundamental,
and
pero hay
what
muchos tipos de
helps you to
meditación,
develop
hacer
yourself.
yoga,
Meditating
hacer
is
ejercicio, hacer una
fundamental.
serie de cosas
There are different types of meditation, do
funcionan
yoga,
súper
exercise,
bien y
and
yo creo que
a
tienen que
series of things
planificar porque yo no puedo dar lo que no tengo.
work
Y como
super
líder
well. I believe
y
you have to
como persona
plan
en este
because I
mundo
can't
que
give
quiero
what I
contribuir, que
can't,
quiero
what I don't
desarrollar mi
have.
potencial,
And as a
no
leader
lo
and as a
puedo
person
hacer
in this
si
world that
yo
I
no
want to
descubro quién
contribute,
soy,
that I want to develop my
para qué
potential,
estoy
I
aquí,
can't
cuál es
do
el significado y el
that if
propósito
I
de mi
don't
vida
get to
y
discover
cómo
who
puedo
I am
apoyar
and what is
con el
the purpose
entorno
of my
esa
life, why am
vida
I
que está
here, and
dentro de
how I
mí
can
y que está
support
destinada
with the
para poder
environment, that
desarrollar mi
life
potencial y hacer
within
algo.
me,
Entonces,
and
el viaje de
that is destined
autodescubrimiento, a
to
partir de
develop my
ahí,
potential
buscar
and to
cuáles
do something in
son
the process,
esos
the
tips,
self-discovery
respiración,
journey.
yoga, tipos
And
de
from there,
meditación,
looking for
ejercicio,
those tips,
nutrición, una
breathing
serie de
techniques,
aspectos que el
yoga
cuerpo y la
exercise,
mente y el espíritu necesitan para estar en
nutrition,
buen estado. Y a
a
partir
series
de
of
ahí, de
effects
ese reconocimiento,
the
crear un
mind
espacio en
needs
la
to be
agenda
in good
donde
standing.
eso
From
sea
there, that
prioridad.
recognition
¿Por
to
qué?
create a space
Además, cuando
in your
hacemos
agenda
eso, nos
where that
volvemos más
becomes a
eficientes,
reality.
más
Why?
eficaces, más productivas y
We
llevamos
become more
felicidad
efficient and
a todo
more
aquello que
productive,
hacemos.
and we bring
Entonces es una relación
happiness
ganar-ganar
to
y el retorno
everything we do.
es
So it
enorme.
is a
Entonces
win-win
realmente ser
relationship,
conscientes
and the
y
return
llevar
is
esos
huge.
pasos.
So we
Muchas
have to
gracias.
take those
Excelente, mil
steps
gracias.
into account. Thank you
Y
very
ahora,
much.
Karim, por
Excellent. Thank you
favor,
very much.
también los
And now,
tips que
Karim,
tendrías
please,
para las
also, the
personas
tips
y
that you would
cómo, porque
share
usted
with
está muy, ¿verdad?, en
people
el tema de la meditación, entonces sí nos
because
gustaría como
you're into
escucharte los
meditation.
tips que
So we
tenés
would
para
like
todos
to
nosotros.
listen to you
Yo creo que el
on your
rol
tips.
de la mujer
I believe
y
the
de manera
role
más amplia de lo
of
femenino,
women
para mí es la única esperanza que
in
tenemos como
extensively to the
humanidad para
feminine
corregir rumbo
role. I
y
believe the
salir
only
de esta
hope we have
trayectoria
as humanity
autodestructiva
to correct
y
this
forjar un
trajectory of
mejor futuro.
self-destruction
Y creo que es muy
and
importante que
to
en
have a
ese
better future
proceso
is in
haya
them. And I
autocuidado.
believe it is
Es una
very
responsabilidad muy
important
grande y
that
que la
for that
mujer
process there's
se cuide y se ame
this
y que
huge
desde esa
responsibility
base
for
pueda
women
servir
and to
es
love
esencial.
themselves. And
Entonces,
from that
autocuidado
basis,
sería
it's essential.
mi consejo, mi palabra.
Self-care would be
Claro,
my
excelente.
tip, my word.
Muchísimas gracias.
Excellent.
También le damos las gracias a
Thank you.
Nazaret, que ha estado aquí con
We also
nosotros.
thank
Yo voy a hacer
Nazareth,
como tal vez
who
un
was
cierre, ¿verdad? De acuerdo a todo lo que
here
hemos
with us, and
conversado.
I'm going to have
Me
this
queda,
closing
a mí por lo menos me
statement
queda muy
what we have
importante el
mentioned.
autoconocimiento, sí, es de
To
uno
me,
mismo, ¿verdad?
self-knowledge is very
Utilizar
important
técnicas que están
within
disponibles para todos
to use
nosotros, en este caso una una de ellas ha sido la meditación, el común denominador en la mayoría. Esta nos puede ayudar mucho si empezamos jóvenes mejor, ¿verdad? Y
that can
después
help us,
también lo que es estar abiertos a entender que hay
even
otras
when we
formas
start
de
from a young age,
sanación que no
even
son
better, and
solo
to be open to understand that there are
lo
other ways of
tradicional que se ha
healing that are
utilizado,
not
lo cual
only
no está
the
mal,
traditional
yo lo
that
utilizo
has been
también,
used, which is
pero
not
nosotros aquí
bad.
lo que hemos
I
conversado
use
es
it
un
as
poco de
well.
cómo
We have
utilizar
talked
para la
about
salud y el
here
bienestar
is how
un
to
poquito
use
de otro
for
tipo de
health and
alternativas
wellness
que ya hemos
is other
experimentado y que
kind
ya
of
nos han ayudado.
alternative that we
Entonces,
have
en realidad
experienced
es un
and
poco
that
eso.
helped us.
Yo también recomiendo,
So
uno
it
de
is
los
actually
temores de uno
a little
muchas
bit
veces
about that. I
es
also
porque no
recommend
conoce las
one of the
cosas y la
fears
ignorancia es la
many
que te
times
da
is
eso,
that
¿verdad?
we don't
Entonces,
know things, and ignorance
profundizar,
gives us
leer,
that.
aprender,
So it is
cada
to go
uno es
deeper, to
una
learn,
persona
to
única
understand, to read
y es
that
diferente como vamos a
we
tomar las
are
cosas,
a unique
pero
person
realmente
and
hay
we're different.
opciones y eso
Each
es lo
person will take
importante. Hemos
things
compartido
differently,
aquí la
but
experiencia
there are
entre todos
options. And that is the
para que
important
pudieran
thing.
conocer
We
un
have
poco más de
shared
lo que es la
our
salud y
experience
bienestar.
here for you
Y
to know a little bit
pues
on
darles
health
las
and wellness.
gracias a
And
todos porque hemos tenido un set de
we
lujo
thank you,
con panelistas
thanking all
excelentes
of you because
y
of this luxury
darles las
panel
gracias
with
por
great
participar
panelists. And
en nuestra
we
charla
thank you for
Neurociencia,
participating in
Meditación
this
y Sanación
neuroscience
Alternativa
meditation
para
and
una salud holística en
alternative
Wef
healing for holistic
Costa
health
Rica
at
2022.
Wef Costa 2022.
Muchas gracias a todos nuestros panelistas en el bloque anterior. Y ahora
Thank you. Lists from the previous panel. We have the closing with a special topic, the last for Wef Costa Rica 2022, the power of unity and kindness, celebrating sorority. We have Anita Powell, Global G100 President, Unity and Wisdom, founder of Tap N2U, empowering through poetry, Helen Navarro, Director of Encuentro de Valientes Program, Irma Sanchez, President, CEO of Women's Silicon Valley, and she is the President of Women Chamber of Indian Trade and Industry, West Section USA, Vida Scrap, Doctor of Neuroscience of University of Zurich, Isabel Borden, Director of WEF Florida, who will be the moderator. In this sorority spirit, one of our participants, one doesn't speak English and the other one doesn't speak Spanish, and the third one will translate. Thank you very much and welcome to the WEF.
En esta oportunidad voy a pasar a presentar a una de nuestras invitadas, que es Anita Powell, y voy a proceder a hacer la entrevista con las preguntas.
With the questions that we would like to listen to, how they succeeded and the path and what they have gone through, and with the people, how they accomplished that. So we give our welcome to Anita Powell, Irma Sanchez, Vida Scrap, and Helen Navarro. Welcome. I proceed to introduce Irma. Irma, welcome. How are you?
Muchas gracias. Muy bien.
Thank you. Doing great. Irma, I would like you to please introduce yourself so our participants can get to know you. Yes, thank you very much. Thanking the CEO of Wef Costa Rica. Thank you, Bernie, for letting us be in here. Dr. Harbin, I am truly inspired by her. We are working for this mission that she started many years ago. I am Irma Sanchez. I am greeting you from here to the world. I have the executive directory of Women Economic Forum Silicon Valley, and I am also the president of member of Indian Trade and Industry for the West section of the United States. And, well, I'm a businesswoman and I'm a philanthropist, and I do many things like the women listening to us. Well, thank you very much, Irma. Thank you for introducing yourself. We will have the opportunity to share and know a little bit about you. And now we will have the introduction of Anita. The person who's going to interpret is going to be Vida, right? Go ahead.
Anita, if you could please introduce yourself. Okay, hi everybody. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm Anita Caprice, and my creed is God first, family second, and career and organization third. And I am a mom of beautiful twin girls, two handsome and grandma to precious five. I'm a poet that I've been writing poetry. I call them my poetic affirmations basically all my life. It's all about just that's the way that I would express myself. And I've been expressing myself through that, through my head to my heart to pen to the paper. That's how that's a great expression for me. I also am a Michigan Unemployment Appeals Advocate, where it's my pleasure, my absolute pleasure, to assist unemployed workers, helping them get their benefits. That's been my honor ever since 2004. Let's see, and I'm honored because of Dr. Harbin Aurora, the beautiful sister, I gotta say. Because of her, I have the privilege and the blessing to serve within the G100 Oneness and Wisdom Sister Circle. That's just it's a dream of mine that materialized right before my eyes, and before I even recognized that it was happening. So that's just a blessing. I I'm just so happy to be here, and my journey in my life to this point, what I've learned is, you know what? If everything that we do, we can have some fun. I've learned that after I left 19 years of employment on a wing and prayer, because my relationship with God has always been important to me. So in 1998, when I left the 19 years, that's when my seeking deepened. And ever since then, I found out that we are human and divine, and it's okay to embrace our imperfection and our perfections. And again, I'm just so happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Now we're moving on with our guest, Vida. Vida Script, for you to introduce yourself to the community.
Hola, es un placer enorme de estar
Hi,
aquí con
it's a
todos
great
ustedes.
pleasure to you, and
Es 1 de la mañana aquí, así que se me
it's
perdonen si
1
hablo mal
a.m.
de
I'm
español.
so sorry if I
Mi
make
historia empieza con
mistakes
las
with my
ciencias.
Spanish, but my story started with science. I am passionate about the brain,
Y por
and
eso
I
estudié
wanted to
neurociencias en Suiza. Y
study
es ahí
a
que
doctorate in
descubrí
neuroscience in Switzerland, and I discovered my passion over there to understand the capability of the brain to discover. And I wanted to have coaching. It's been 8 years that I work as a coach, and it's a great pleasure to create a safe space of empathy to finding their talents.
por 4 años en una consultoría en Londres.
For 4 years, I was in London, and I worked with hundreds of leaders, many women with experiences in common. and also the visibility, telling their own story. Now, I'm loving receiving participating here. I was paralyzed of telling my story because visibility for many is a confidence block, but it's a matter of changing that pattern. Thank you. Oh, thank you very much. And we are going to move on with Helen Navarro. Go on. Please introduce yourself. Welcome to the Women Economic Forum of Costa Rica. Hi, I would like to thank all of you to let me be here in this important forum and beautiful forum to share with all of you. I would like to thank Bernardita, but I would like to thank also her brother Roger, because thanks to him, I could find this space here. In life, actually, God moves all the people. I am here today because one of the colleagues couldn't make it, so God wanted me to be here today. Today, I can tell you I am a mother of 3 daughters. I'm married to a marvelous partner who demonstrated to me what is to be a partner in good times and bad times, loyal in sickness and in health. I'm also the third of 5 siblings, daughter of Carlos Navarro and Mayra Chinchilla. My parents always taught me to serve and to share. And I am here today to tell you that for 27 years I had a beauty salon where I worked, and I loved my job. I was passionate about that, but at the same time, I had the wrong priority. I realized that work was the most important thing, according to me, that I could do to give my children material things. Of course, it is important to work. We need it. But we have to have this balance that there are moments where we have to work and there are moments where we have to share with family. One day, overnight, I was signed in the university, 4 universities, and 4 important universities in the country. The University of Calderón Guardia, the University of Mexico, the University of the Palliative Clinic, and the University of Senare. They may say, Helen, what are you talking about? Because what you're talking about are hospitals and university of my life, where I learned this career that had 2 months to make it, to see if I could make it. So that's why I am here. And I would like to share with all of you this. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Helen. So we are going to move on to the next question, because you're successful, you have the results in your lives, but no one knows about the path you had to go through to have the results you have now. Now we're going to ask them, tell us about your story so you get inspired and you can take whatever you need to follow that path. So let's begin with our guest Anita. Again, Vida, for her to tell us your story, because you are a successful woman, but what is the most difficult thing that you had to endure in this path to get your results?
Thank you so much for that question. Um, you know, life challenges and obstacles, one, I've learned that those are lessons. So I would say that one of the hardest things that I had to learn was that absolutely those challenges were my lessons. And once I learned that these were lessons for me, once I learned that that person, that thing, that place, that incident, that circumstances, what it was my soul was addressing it because I needed something to learn so that I can move on to the next phase, to be today, where I am today, so that I can be where I will be tomorrow and where I was yesterday. Um, Particular path is that, and I had mentioned earlier that all my life, my life has been, it's been very, very important for me to know my relationship with the Creator, with God, because growing up, I didn't really understand, or I didn't think it was
I
logical.
didn't really
What we
understand,
weren't
but
taught,
it
that's
was
okay.
magic when,
That's
regardless,
it's
it
just what
was
it is.
okay.
But it didn't resonate with me. So that was my journey, and I believe that's what I was born here.
Okay,
And I always thought, I said,
pero
I thought that
esto
I
no lo
was
traduzco, ¿verdad?
seeking
Okay,
my
pero esto no,
relationship
no
with
lo
God
digo,
for
¿verdad? Estoy en
me.
silencio.
But I realized that I was seeking my relationship not only for me, but for my sister and for my brother. Because what I've learned is that how that power, presence, and essence is within us. It's all around us, but more importantly, is within us. The challenge for me is when I'm seeing when I'm seeing situation and people that seem to be hopeless, that seem to be that seem to having not knowing where they're going. And I know that the challenge for me is like, don't you know, all you have to do is go inside. It is something, we are the greatest miracles in the world according to Og Mandino, greatest miracle in the world, the God memorandum. So, and my challenge is, I remember for 7 years, one of my challenges was that I thought that I was experiencing a severe financial hardship after I left the 19 years. And one of my challenges was humility and pride, because it was a point where I didn't necessarily have food in my home. However, God took care of me by having people knock on my door saying, hey, you want to go to lunch? You want to go to dinner? Nobody knew my plight because I would let anybody know, with good means and excellent health and benefits of 19 years. And here I have no food. There's no way I was going to share any, but that was my challenge. My challenge was to learn humility. My challenge was to hey, you got to diminish a little bit that pretty perky ego and let that divinity come through, that humility to come through. And that was one of my challenges. And for those years, my challenge was my blindness. I was blind to what I had because I was so focused on what I didn't have. And it wasn't until many years later that it dawned on me. I said, oh my gosh, I had everything I needed. I did not go hungry. I paid my bills. I was able to get where the destinations that I was to get to, but I was so focused on what I didn't have the money to do, didn't have food, but I was the sparrow. And that was one of the lessons I believe. I know that God, and I understand that God was sharing with me, see, you let go. And that's what one of the things that I share with people. I'm an advocate of learning to let go, trusting that flow on the inside, that intuition, and just be and go. I'm an energy gal, so I believe in the energy. Just like the energy here, I'm feeling all the energy with these beautiful sisters and the brothers, and that's why I'm smiling, because I'm saying, "Oh," I said, "See, even through a screen, we can feel that beautiful energy." So the challenges and obstacles that I've come across, praise God, I've learned that they're for me. they're for me because that means that I'm graduating from one step to another. And that's a beautiful thing. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much porque realmente nos has inspirado con toda esta historia y ahora
Thank you very much because you have given us this story, and we will come back for you to tell us the next steps or the next steps that you have taken in your life. So let's move on to Irma Sanchez. We know Irma as a successful woman as well. She is the director of Women Economic in the US as well. But Irma, tell us a little bit. What was the hardest thing that you had to face and that made you move your bases to have the results that you have now? Thank you. Thank you for that question. My awakening was like that. Um, it was when I was 6. I came home. My father and my sister passed away, and years after, my mother dies from breast cancer, and I see death as why how about if tomorrow is the last day of my life? So that is the greatest teaching, and understanding that everything happens because of something and not because of my conditions. I just want to tell you that I have to take advantage of the time that is left for me. One of the greatest things in life is to be humble, that we can lose everything overnight, to learn that honesty, kindness are very important, to surround ourselves with people who know more than we know. And how can I go with psychologists and professionals in business and all? I have nothing. I suffered from not having anything to eat. However, I didn't want to take what life was given me at the moment. So, like I said, for me, the most important thing in life was to work together, to work in the mission that we all have. I have been sponsored in different times of my life. When you have this mission, and I don't want women to go through what I have gone through in their lives. So if we have this situation that we want to, I want women to break these chains and to be happy and to give the opportunity to reinvent themselves. So it is very important to understanding who I am, to have this focus, not to from the time that we have, and to work in our values and our talents. And it's okay, because each one of us have different talents, and that's why it's so beautiful. And if you have the strength, we are going to work together, because in my personal case, for example, something that caught my attention, when one of the ladies said here, I had to understand to balance my life, because I have to move on, but then I want to create my family, but I have my philanthropy work, I have my work, and I have my family. So as bad as I was with the little that I had, I divided it. I shared that with other people. And it doesn't matter where I am. You can help others with a hug, crumble of what you have. That is the important thing. And I got to Mexico. I've been in so many countries, and I had the blessing of with the forum to be here. to fulfill the mission that we all have. So that's my story. The only thing I want to say is that I'm very happy. And we came to this life to be happy and bountiful. And if at some point we stumble, we have to stand up. And if you need to ask for help, we need to ask for help. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for your story. Thank you for all of this, sharing your moments. And we move on because we still have some time to tell you about everything they have so we can learn from them and take what we need for our lives from. We have Vida, Vida Scrub. The floor is yours. Tell us, what challenges you face to be here? Yes, thank you. Mine is a topic of childhood. I am coming from a chauvinistic country, debunking that pattern and not giving value to myself, because that's why I froze when I was asked to tell my story. It is a continuous struggle. Sometimes it is subtle in meetings or with my partner. Sometimes it is something big, like how am I going to create my own business? And that's that voice in the everyday. So that's difficult. I still have this dialogue, and every day I have to find the strength to wonder, why am I doing this? And this is the love that I'm creating. It is seeing with each coaching and each session, if I can open a little bit of love, compassion, and empathy, where I find this to move on. So that's the everyday thing for the good, for doing good. And with the women that I talk to, demonstrating that many times as women, we have this fear that someone is going to be angry, that we have to be happy. And this is the struggle. And what gives me the strength is to see the results, seeing another person. This in the space for others, celebrating one and each other. And to a subtle level, to all of them, creating the space to do something, to write that book, to open that business, to getting married, to whatever your dream is, you can do it. So we still struggle. Thank you. Really nice, Vida. I loved it. The doing and putting into action. Life is now, and life is only one. So let's talk to Helen Navarro. Helen, please tell us, what what did you face? So what caused you reaching the next level? Because I believe that obstacles that we have are just to take another step. Like I was mentioning, I got into the university without wanting to. I was signed up for that overnight, so I had to quit my beauty salon. I took the master's, the doctorate license, because I graduated with honors. I say it with honors because there I found these professors who were the ones teaching me the real meaning of life. I was diagnosed with cancer, Hodgkin and lymphoma, and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And the doctors said, according to what I see, you only have 2 months of life. And I had to run in those 2 months. When I got into that university, I learned so very much. And that is why today I am the Helen that I am today. What humility is. Through those doctors, nurses, that to me, I respect them a lot. Those are these people telling you how things are done and that you should do them with love. I learned how to observe, and I learned that when we tend people with love, kindness, and respect, there we can tend people and we can receive that kindness and that love. When I saw the job from nurses one day, another nurse asked her, "Why are you smiling if you're doing that job, which is awful, to changing, cleaning the patients and cleaning everything, all the mess?" And she says, "Because I studied, because I work with love." And there I understood the service. Service comes from love. But I could also see someone working in the hospital doesn't have that humility and doesn't work with love. So there's this balance in the effects when you're working with love and without love. And I learned how to be patient. I learned that for everything in life, we have to be patient. I was in the hospital I was admitted for 1 year in Calderon Guardia Hospital, and I had to learn that with each drop of chemotherapy, I was hooked on 24 hours a day, and I couldn't even unhook myself to take a shower. I had to be patient. It was, and we cannot rush things. Everything has a process in life. I learned also what it is to live complying. I learned obedience. Why obedience? Well, because if they tell us that we don't have to do something, we don't have to do it. If they tell us do something, we have to do something. I learned how to let go. What is that? To let go of everything. To know that when I get into a hospital, I have to leave aside everything that is outside the hospital, and I have to focus on my process, my illness, so my recovery is successful. I learned how to let all my burdens go to God, and I learned to heal my body. I learned to know that I today, but tomorrow my life can change overnight. Helen was working today. Yes, they knew who I was in the beauty salon, and then I had to leave myself out and to be Helen in the hospital. I learned how to believe blindly. When we are going through a trial without God, we don't have any strength. He is the one lifting us, supporting us. Whenever you feel you're not strong enough, he says, "Go, Helen, go." Through prayer, independently, your religion, through prayer is where you learn how to stand up. It is incredible. And that is why now, right now, asking to pray for Ukraine and those to please pray. Let's pray because prayer moves mountains. Being in the hospital, I realized the power of prayer. And I realized that the moment where I was so scared, the moments I was so really scared, something superior than me lifted me. It was the prayers from the people praying for me. I also learned what it is to feel that sensitivity from people who are suffering. How many times we walk by a hospital and we not even take a look at that? We know what's in a hospital, but we have to get into a hospital to realize pain, suffering, everything that you live in there. I learned how to fight. I learned to know that I couldn't give up, even though they said you only have to live. I had to know that I had to fight until the end to find the motivation. It could be my daughters, my parents, my siblings, any motivation. I had to fight for someone. All of you who are going through cancer or any other illness that you're going through, let me tell you, never give up, because we have to know that as long as we have life, there's hope, and we have to fight tirelessly. Excellent, excellent story, Helen. Super inspiring. I loved it. And let's move on for more stories and more content that we have now. I am Isabel Borden. I'm the moderator for today. We thank the Women of Economic Forum of Costa Rica. Now, move on to this question. This is a great question. I love it. And then one general question that I love to close. This is a question. What is it that keeps on giving you fear, or that you fear about right now, forcing you not to move on in 10 years? Let's begin with Anita. What fears do you have, Anita?
Thank you. Bless your heart. I'm going to get a little intimate here. And with that, as they say, getting real and personal. The fear, I call them karmic debts. I call them karmic debts because either it's the worthy, deserving, or not enough. And because we are perfect in our imperfection, of course, we are enough, deserving, and worthy. Well, my fear that I came on this earth to overcome is not being, not knowing enough. So now the fear has diminished as you know as I make the continuum of my journey. However, that fear is still there because it is my karmic debt. So situations and revelations come into my life where I'm able to recognize when I am having that moment. I even wrote a poem about it as a poem, and I put music to it 'cause my keyboard is in the back of me. This is where I am, is my studio and office. Well, it's called Holding On, and this is one of those poems or poetic affirmations, like I like to call them, where there's audience participation. Because when I'm playing certain keys, when I get to that one stanza, we all say that I am worthy, I am deserving, I am loved, and I am loved. So that's one of my, and I'm gonna use the word fear lightly because it is a fear on the degree of the word fear that we're using. So I want to say that. So that is one of my fears. Also, just being human too. Like I said, we're human and divine. I am 65 years of age. I know that I am alluringly seasoned and marvelously mature. However, there's that humanness in me that says, do I have enough time to do the many things that I still want to do? So those are the things that are in my life right now. As far as like the real big fears of being paralyzed and not being able to move on, I have to say, because I've recognized that there is something greater in all of us, I don't have that. praise God. I don't have that fear anymore. I lived it and I lived it for years. But I can say those lessons and challenges that taught me it, they don't have to fear that anymore.
Excellent, Anita. Thank you very much for sharing your story, your lessons, and everything. So let's continue with Irma
Thank you. You're
Sanchez.
welcome.
She is in the US as well, and she is the director of Silicon Valley Forum. Irma, the floor is yours. Yes, before answering that, I wanted to mention something important for the Women Economic Forum is our event in December, where we have the mission of 1 million to have the entrepreneurs, all women in with services to be able to exchange their knowledge and their businesses. So we do have that mission. It is very important to mention that we countries and we will work to reach this goal. Now, answering your question, what is it what Irma Sanchez fears? Excellent question. Like I said before, my story. I have to work about the loneliness because of what I faced. I am afraid of being alone, but I'm working on that. And to work on basically my mind, my emotions, my in my life, and to be aware of everything. Prayer has been the most important thing to be faithful to have faith in God. I am the captain of my soul, and I have to take care of that. I I ask God, give me the signs, not what I want. Give me what I need to move on. Give me those signs on. And definitely to work every day because the only enemy Irma has is Irma. So if I fall down, I have to be my own fan as well. So I have to understand that when I have this negative thoughts like loneliness, abandonment, I started to work on that. And love is the strongest power that we have. And we have an important mission of helping each other to go on. Great, great. Thank you very much, Irma. So she has her event going on this year, just like us here at the Women Economic Forum of Florida. We will have our event, our first event here in Florida. I am the person in charge of making it happen with the opportunity from Harbin. And I'm very thankful to be the director of the Women Economic Forum in Florida. And we have two shows inspired by success stories. You're invited to share your stories in the shows. We're all entrepreneurs are invited as well. We continue with our guests. Now we have Vida. Vida. Remember, the question is, what are your actual fears, your current fears? How do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? Someone saying that they don't fear anything is lying. Okay, so we all fear something. So the fears overcome only if we will have fear to something else in the next stage, So that fear is going to go away when we take action over it. So Vida, tell us, please. Exactly. Exactly, Irma. We all fear and we have to move on. When I see things like these difficulties. I sometimes fear on how I can make a change. What's my place in the world? Those huge problems in the world, where I can direct my strength. And I see the kindness. There's this plan. There's something. There's love. So to believe in that, to have the strength to have this loving action in the world. Excellent. Thank you, Vida. Definitely. With everything in the world, we want to help. And definitely, the change starts in each one of us. At home, if we have children, then we help them to make the change in the world as well. So thank you, Vida. Now, we talk to Helen Navarro. Let me repeat the question again. What do you fear? What do you still fear? Where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? Well, I believe that the thing that I fear the most is to fail those people that are expecting a smile from me. My strongest desire with this new opportunity God gave me to live is to serve. And it is through each one of the activities we are not here living our lives to live. We're here to serve, and we have to find our mission. That mission, I found it when I stepped out of the hospital and I realized that I had to help all those people who needed a smile, who needed this motivation, saying, I can fight, I can go on. If you have someone next to you telling you you can make it, with my program, Encuentro de Valientes, I have this project that is called Encuentro de Valientes, and it has traveled internationally. In patients of cancer, we meet to talk to each other, and we have this. We want to have this hostel to allocate those people with cancer who can't stay near their hospitals. So this is my dream. And my daughter says, if someday you cannot make it and you're not here, I will make my best to make it happen. Beautiful. That's beautiful. An applause to you, an applause. Great applause to you. Well, now the very last round of questions. It's not a question. It is actually, what is it what you would like to share for the public, for the attendees today? What's your last message? What would you like to tell us that I haven't been able to ask you? So let's begin with our first guest, Anita. Anita, go ahead.
Thank you so much. This is really great here. Thank you. All right. I'd like to share that um, any sisters that are listening to this, I'd like to invite you to the All 100 in our particular sister circle. It's called the Oneness and Wisdom. We would love to welcome and embrace you. It's all about the sisterhood. It's all about a connection. It's all about, like, all of the sisters here with this beautiful sister share. The main thing that I'm hearing, one word that I'm hearing more than any that I've heard in this session here was the word love. The word love. And I just like to share with with you if you're listening and you're saying that you want to become involved in a really sincere sister, I call it a sister movement, even just the all ladies league, because I had years ago had shared with a sister friend of mine that I said I wish I could find a circle of sisters where I could feel the love. And lo and behold, a couple of years later, I I was invited into the All Ladies League, and I ever since 2000, ever since 2020, I have been feeling an enormous amount of love, which has given me the courage to give love, which is just beautiful. And now I say the prayer has been answered. This is a sisterhood, All Ladies League, WEF, WICCI. All of it is Sisters with All Ladies League, sisters beyond borders, sharing and showing love. And I just say, hey, I invite you into our circle. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anita, and thank you for being here sharing with us. Thank you for your time. Thank you for cooperating with the Women Economic Forum. And definitely, like I say, to support and to cooperating. And this is the topic, sorority, which is very important. So I thank you. Our time is up, but we thank you for being here, sharing your stories of inspiration for others. So if you're just tuning this Women Economic Forum Costa Rica, we're talking to our panelists, telling us about their stories, and we're closing these interviews with a question. What is it what you would like to share with the audience, and maybe a message? Because of the time, because of the time to ask you, but let's go with Irma. Thank you for the question. I may say some topics that I feel like this is an opportunity. I believe dreams do come true, and we have to manifest our creativity, to be very clear and focused on why we came here to this life. And I've had several conferences. I will publish a book, and the income from that will help me attend other conferences. And my dream is to have this center to lodge therapists, psychologists, coaches for women who don't have access to education. We can educate them. So this is one of my biggest dreams. Work with sponsors in the US. Thank God I have. And this is the most important thing, to be supported by people, like I said at the beginning, who know more than we do. So that's the reference for what I want to become. So there's this mountain, and we have to climb it together. So I love you. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you, Irma. Very nice, your mission and your project. Now let's move on to Vida. Vida, you are in the other continent, despite it is very early in the morning. You're here supporting Women Economic Forum. Go on, Vida. Yes, mine is very simple. To live in a world where we are all the same. We're equal space. All girls have access to education, so to help each other. It is very simple to create the world we want to have. Thank you. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Vida. It is very simple, but it is very important. I love your dream. Thank you. And now, with our guest, the cherry on top, Helen Navarro, who have shared her story. Go on, Helen. What would you like to say? What's your message for the community? Well, I would like to share that after everything I've gone through, I'm working with cancer patients, working together with them. I have projects with caregivers because not only the patients need help, but the entire. I go to conferences, international conferences, generating hope, and I do have my YouTube channel with messages of hope. So all of these voluntarily as the service way that I have, because I am in debt. I am in debt because I am here today when they gave me 2 months of life only. So life, there's only one. Enjoy it. Please don't forget to tell your loved ones how much you love them. Don't forget that we have to work and we have to give quality of life as well. And we have to recreate special moments that tomorrow when we're not here, it'll be the legacy that we leave. Because days pass by and what we didn't do, we cannot do anymore. So let's welcome every morning. Let's say good morning to our loved ones because that means thank you for being here next to me. So thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be in here. It's been an honor. Thank you very much. We thank you, all of you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for opening to this wonderful public. We thank Bernie from the Wef Costa Rica and her being our leader, the owner of the Women Economic Forum. And aside from that, I wanted to tell you that in this 2022, we will have the Women Economic Forum in Florida, in this case in Miami. So you're completely invited. Instagram is Wef Florida for you to follow us. And just to let you know about the SCV, you have the opportunity to participate, hire yourself, woman, to share your success stories in the Latin business show as well, to tell us about your business, what you do, and we can help you. So thank you very much. This was the Women Economic Forum Costa Rica, and we thank you for being here with us. Thank you very much. Thanking all the panelists from the previous block. Closing the last axle of this Wef Costa Rica 2022. Some of the messages I didn't want to leave aside. Please get this translation to Anita. Anita, you're a pura vida woman and you're beautiful. Beautiful energy from the panelists. We feel that through the screen. Marta Perez, beautiful, inspiring stories. Greetings from Sarasota, Florida. Special to Isabel. Cecilia says, excellent, Isabel and team. Greetings from Argentina. So this is an event that is putting us together despite the borders with positive energy. And that is why I would like to introduce you to my friends, my colleagues from Wef, and they are going to present to you Maria Segura, coordinator of production, these days behind the scenes with us, Loredana Guzman. She is the executive director of Wef Costa Rica 2022, who has been in contact with the 61 panelists that you have seen these 2 days, and of course, our CEO, Bernardita Rodriguez, who has given all of herself to this event. We are going to have this closing event, beginning with Bernardita. Thank you very much. Thanking all of you for being here with us at this time of the day. But it is super important to begin with this recognition, this awards ceremony in the first place with a little story on how we got to have this display. I don't know if you can say so. Let's say that it's a display, which is what we have here on the set, this hummingbird, this ecological part that actually belongs to Costa Rica, to Wef Costa Rica. This was the initiative from an audiovisual production company from the first event that we had, who believed in us without charging a thing. He helped us. He is Mauricio Duarte with Shaha Productions, that unfortunately he is in heaven since December the 11th. I am sure that his energy is still here with us in this set. We remember him with love, and he was my nephew. So I have the honor to bring my brother to the set so he can receive this recognition in the name of his son. That is why we're here. Thank you very much. Thank you, Bernardita. Thanking all of you. I know my son would be. He is proud, because this is something that he loved, and he did it with so much love. And I would like to congratulate you on behalf of men, all of you. I was telling Nuria Marin, I would like 90% of men watch this forum. I felt that it fulfilled me. What great teaching you're giving to all. Thank you, Bernie. Thank you. And we will continue with other special recognition that our colleagues are going to present. In the category of companies creating better a better environment for us. Betty.
Ship 506.
Olsen, Ship 506. Cadena Radial Costarricense. De todo un poco.
Fundación Yo Puedo y Vos.
Fundación Yo Puedo y Vos. BLP. Alas.
Ticas Poderosas.
Ticas Poderosas. Soy Niña. Acción Joven.
En la categoría de
In the category of young, innovative people to create a new world for us. Andrea Leñero, Gerardo Corrales, Ger Graus, Fernando Esquivel. In the category of iconic leaders creating a better world for us, Nielsen Bujan,
Juan José Chacón.
Juan José Chacón.
Bueno, de nuevo, pero
And again,
no nos lo brincamos, a pesar de que ya lo mencionamos.
we mentioned this, Mauricio Duarte, in memoriam.
En la categoría de mujeres excepcionales,
In the exceptional women category, looking for excellence for a better world, Anabel González,
Maureen Clark.
Maureen Clark,
Rosemary Engels,
Rosemary Engels, Laura Thompson,
Alexandra Kisling.
Alexandra Kisling,
Gretel Aguilar,
Gretel Aguilar, Andrea Hulbert,
Mayela Rojas.
Mayela
Carla
Rojas,
Blanco,
Carla Blanco, Ileana Rojas,
De Yenane Villanueva.
Janane Villanueva,
Virginia Rivera.
Virginia Rivera,
Lore.
and we have iconic women creating a better world for us,
Liliana Mejía.
Fedra Rodríguez, Liliana Mejía,
Irene Aguilar,
Irene Aguilar, Nancy Dobles,
Aitza Saborío.
Aitza
Andrea
Saborío,
Bonilla,
Andrea Bonilla, Jacqueline
Silvia
López,
Castro.
Silvia Castro,
Andrea Corrales,
Andrea Corrales, Nazaret Castellanos, Liat Cavert,
Sequeira Picado,
Dora Sequeira Picado, Marisa Estela Fernández,
Saborío.
Marcia Saborío.
y bueno, con estas
And
fotos que pusimos acá,
with these
quiero
pictures
agradecer
over here, I would like to
todo el
thank
equipo de trabajo que han entregado
the entire
horas de horas,
work
de
team,
horas, de horas.
giving us hours and hours and hours.
Salvador, Bernardita,
Of course, the
María,
organizing committee,
a doña
Loredana
María,
Maria,
que nos acompaña
Mrs.
también,
Nuria Marin,
a
who is
Cristina
here with
Izquierdo,
us,
que hoy está
Cristina
cumpleaños,
Izquierdo,
acá,
who's
hermanos
with her
de
birthday
Alas,
today,
a
that's
todas
why
las
she is not here,
colaboradoras
sisters from
voluntarias,
Alas and the
acompañan
volunteers
Andrea Golcher,
in the project,
Hazel
Andrea
Monge,
Golcher,
Iria
Hazel
Araya,
Monge,
Cristina
Iria
Arias,
Araya, Cristina
Mónica
Arias, Mónica
Liliana
Víquez,
Carranza y Michelle
Liliana
Mitchell, que
Carranza,
compartieron
Michelle
conmigo
Mitchell,
el honor de
who
poder
were
presentarles la agenda de Web Costa
sharing the
Rica
honor to
2022.
go through the
Al equipo de
agenda,
producción
WEF
de
Costa Rica
GESA, que nos ha
2022,
estado apoyando
the
tenazmente
HESA
con toda la
production
entrega y
team
energía
supporting
positiva
us
de su set,
with the
a
positive
nuestros
energy
amigos
in
aliados
their set,
patrocinadores,
our
Betty,
allies and
Grupo GESA,
sponsors, Betty and Grupo HESA, Holcim,
Cadena Radial
Cadena
Costarricense,
Radial Costarricense,
La República,
La
Simetría
República,
Digital,
Simetría Digital,
BLP,
BLP,
Chip
Chip
506,
506,
Hospital
Pfizer,
Metropolitano,
Hospital
Grupo
Metropolitano, Grupo
Alma de
Mutual,
Escalante,
Alma de
Abogados
Escalante,
Hubert Bolio Montero,
Hubert
Prensa
Bolio Montero,
Ejecutiva,
Law Firm,
República
Prensa
Independiente,
Ejecutiva,
Bioayurveda,
República
Lizeth
Independiente,
Castro,
Bioayurveda, Lizeth
Petra,
Castro,
Facturas Costa
Revista
Rica
Petra,
y Servicios
Facturas Costa
Contables,
Rica,
Vanessa
and
Ugalde.
Accounting Services, Vanessa
En
Ugalde.
espíritu de sororidad,
In the sorority
tanto la primera
spirit,
edición como esta,
for the
contamos
first edition
con
and this one,
una
we
excelente
have
traducción para
an
aquellas
excellent
personas
interpretation
que no hablan español,
for
que hablan inglés,
people
que
who
quieran
don't speak
disfrutar de este evento.
Spanish,
Pero
who
este
speak English,
año
could enjoy
logramos
this.
dar un
But this
poquito
year,
más para
we
poder
had
tener
one
con nosotros
more
una
step
audiencia
in having the
que
audience
lastimosamente se ve excluida en
who
otras
are
ocasiones. Pero
unfortunately
gracias a la
excluded.
Fundación Yo Puedo y Vos
But thanks
y a
to
nuestra
Fundación Yo
amiga que
Puedo
también
y
ha
Vos
estado
and our friend who has been
muchísimas de las charlas, Alian Pérez, hemos podido
Alian
hacer
Pérez,
la traducción al ESCO,
we could have LESCO interpretation as well, sign language,
Costa Rica
which
2022,
is put in WEF Costa Rica 2022 with
a las tres artistas costarricenses
with an idea and with the three Costa Rican artists, Fedra Rodriguez, Rachel Araya, and Marcia Saborio. We thank them all. And each one of those of you with us, being here with us, you can go over the conversations on Facebook and our YouTube channel and the website, soymujercostarica.com. And I leave you with the final words from Bernardita Rodriguez. Well, we thank the audience here with us. We do have someone behind the scenes who have pushed this team. Nuria, please join us. It was not on script, I'm so sorry. But she deserves it because, honestly, I listened to Nuria at some point in the podium, and I was so inspired by her, and I had to look for her and ask her that I wanted to talk to her. And I definitely thank the entire team, everyone who have been one way or another supporting the production. Production has been spectacular, professional. They have been able to react. Maria, who's been pushing, and Loredana, without her, this wouldn't be possible, because with her demanding and planning way of being, she has helped, and Maria Laura with her efforts, and despite personal experiences, she had to go through the first event and this one, so we thank you. I believe this is an homage to that paradigm and myth that women can't work together. This is the event putting together many talents and efforts, and this is the sample that women organization can work together. We can make a difference together. And just like we say in Alas, all women can fly high. Let's raise our hands in victory.